Hello and welcome to Briançon for the last IFSC World Cup before a certain Paris Olympics. The crowd are on their feet, we're ready to go. My name is Matt Groom and I'm joined by Campbell Harris in the commentary box.
Hello,
Campbell, welcome.
Thank you.
Listen, you're an absolute pleasure to have in this commentary box. I love doing this with you. And I wanted to talk to you briefly about the Olympics because in a couple of weeks you're going to be there.
Yes.
I know it hasn't necessarily been the best build-up in terms of results right now, but how are you feeling for everything?
Yeah, good. I'm excited. I mean, grateful for the opportunity and everything. The results haven't really been showing in the way that I've been expecting to, which is scary and frustrating, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited.
Awesome, Campbell. Well, thank you for that. Now we're going to have a look at the results from the semi-finals. Let's check out the highlights from last night. This is a man you know pretty well on the wall there, coming back from surgery. He said to me in the qualifying that he could kind of messed it up. He was surprised to be here. He's done fantastically well to get this far.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, I think, since his last final appearance, so really exciting to see him back and in form.
And then Team Japan have multiple athletes, 6 into the finals. Everyone absolutely cranking. And we
Bit of a theme in Briançon, I think, last year as well. We had 7 out of 8 men's finalists, Japanese, so...
Yes, we've got 2 European athletes, Sebastian and Max, and there is Max. He was excited. I saw him in the isolation earlier on, and he just said he can't wait to get out there and climb.
Yeah, I bet.
And then Shita Tanaka. Oh, that was a hard move, tricky on the feet. You can see the elbows going up. Fell towards the top of the wall, and a lot of athletes got very high last night.
Yeah, it was not an easy semi-final because we didn't, especially in the women's, we didn't see any tops, but yeah, it was an interesting show. I think when they first came out, we were wondering if it was going to be hard enough, but it still proved a challenge for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. We did see a top there from Zento Murashita. And also another one for Satomi Yoshida. So the men more successful than the women, which actually has been a bit of a surprise. We haven't seen many men's tops.
Yeah, and I think when the round started, the first girls came out, got really high, and then the boys not so much. And then as the round went by, it kind of flipped.
Yeah, exactly that. And Shiona Mata, he'll climb last here this evening, having qualified in first position. Another top for him, that wild swing. And got to clip the last quick draw to finish things off. So that was the men's side of things. And for the women, yeah, there was a couple of tricky cruxes, but this lady here, 16 and her second finals in a row.
Yeah, I mean, prior to the season starting, I'd heard really cool things about Flora, that she was performing really well. So yeah, it's I was kind of waiting to see what would happen, but she's really just come straight out of the box.
She is
kicking.
As is this lady, Rosa Reka from Slovenia, her first finals as well. Natsumi Oda, meanwhile, well, she was wrestling with those slopers on the top, made the match, tried to make the move up, but it wasn't going to be on that attempt. And it's great to see this lady back because she seems to love Briançon.
Yeah, for sure. And she's really found her way back into form lately, which is cool to see. She's been training a lot of the places I've been training over the season, and you're putting in a lot of hard work, so very exciting.
Yes, it is. So she was looking relaxed in ISO as well. Mei Kataki, she did well in qualifying. Not quite as well in semis, but still inside of the top 5. And Jain Kim, so good to watch her climb always.
Yeah, always so much fun to watch, and so cool to see her like still going after the OQS. I thought maybe it would be the end, but no, she's still here and she's still crushing.
Yeah, no signs of stopping. Mattia Pozzi had a nightmare in qualifying, falling on 8, hold 8 in qualifying on her first run. She had to dig deep, she fought back, she nearly won semi-finals, and she'll enjoy fighting again. Laura Rogera did one better, qualifying in first position. And she will be in Paris in a couple of weeks' time, the last Olympian left at this stage. And you talk about confidence boost, that is going to be a boost for her.
Yeah, 100%. Like, she knows that as far as her lead goes, like, she's in shape and she's ready to perform.
All right, well, those are the athletes who will compete. They observed the route earlier on, before the broadcast started. Men's route on the left, the women's on the right. And we're excited to get underway. In a couple of moments, we can see Sebastian Helenke walking onto the stage. Well, if you're just joining us, welcome to Briançon. We're here for the Lead World Cup. Speed was the other evening. Now time for the lead athletes to compete. And Campbell, what's this moment like? When they walk to the front of the stage, you've got that audience in front of them. What do you think is going through their heads? What would be going through your head?
I mean, I imagine it's very special. I imagine it's a little bit intimidating as well, like having so much of a crowd, and the crowd here is like so excited about climbing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, especially for the ones who are making finals for the first time, probably just trying to like soak it all in and just really, you know, feel like grateful for the opportunity that they're about to have to show what they got.
And Sebastian Helenka is so happy to be back. He really wasn't expecting it, I tell you, after qualis, but it's good to see him. And look how many Japanese athletes there are. 2 Europeans, 6 Japanese athletes. I don't know where they find their talent from.
Yeah, well, I spent a bit of time training in Japan earlier this year, and it really is just like such a deep field there. I think also specific to Briançon, when you take the combined athletes out, you tend to get their pure lead specialist team. And so whilst this might seem like smaller names, these are their like star lead climbers. So yeah, this is where you really see some of the like Japanese lead specific talent.
Yeah, exactly. What this man, just 18 years old. 1 participation.
First finals.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? And, you know, you could almost call this... I mean, I spoke to some of the Japanese coaches, and they were saying that the team at the moment is kind of split. There's the Olympians, and then there's everyone else. If this is their B team, it's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. It's like this is their quote-unquote B team, but this is their lead A team.
Yeah.
You know, like, for the most part, these are the ones who are... you know, yeah, specifically good at this discipline.
Yes, and then Max Berton, we saw the reaction from the crowd. I kind of predicted this. I'm going to claim this one.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's his 3rd World Cup, but there's something about Max Berton. You just know he's going to be a regular in the future.
Yeah, 100%. He's obviously the talent runs in the family, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Sister of Oriane. Shooter there. There we go.
Happy birthday, Alan.
I wonder who Alan is. All right, and Zento Murashita will be announced next. He steps forward and says hello to the crowd. He's just 25 World Cups so far. And then Satomi Yoshida. I mean, we've seen him do a lot of boulder competitions recently, and he's looking way more powerful than I've seen him before.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's, really in form. I mean, so much of lead climbing, honestly, is just being physically strong, being able to pull hard moves. That, you know, the harder the move you can pull, the easier they're going to feel. So, yeah, that extra power certainly wouldn't be going astray.
No, absolutely, especially when there's boulder problems, stacked on boulder problems. And finally, Shion Omata, he looked great during qualifying. He was dominant in semi-finals, and he will climb last here tonight. Okay, well, that's pretty much the formalities done. The athletes now will leave. Half of them will stay behind the wall. Half will go back to the isolation zone that's down a little hill into a gym. And Campbell, in terms of isolation, we actually did a little feature in the isolation on the World Climbing Club you can watch tonight. But it's a strange place to be as an athlete, isn't it? Because it's super busy qualifying in semis, and then during finals, very quiet.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, in the qualification, like, it was a short round, so everyone was warming up pretty early in the day. It's quite a small, in terms of, it's a big area, but the climbing wall here is quite small. So everyone's just trying to get a space on the wall. It can be like really cutthroat. And then by the time you whittle it down to 16 athletes, yeah, it feels very, very quiet.
All right, well, we're going to have a look at the observation. This is a unique aspect of climbing. Old hands at the sport will understand this, but for those people watching for the first time, what on earth is going on stage here, Campbell?
Yeah, so essentially the climbers haven't seen these routes before, and so they have 6 minutes in which to view the route and come up with some proposed ideas perhaps of how they're going to complete it. So usually first thing you'll do is read through the route by yourself. You kind of try to create a mental image of the route, knowing where all the feet are, and then you'll go through the route kind of section by section with other competitors and maybe try to nut out the smaller details, the beta that we call it. So yeah, figuring out where you might clip the clips from, where you might rest from. Sometimes you might need like 2 or even 3 different ideas of how you might complete a certain section. Sometimes the 6 minutes can feel like it takes forever if it's a simple route, and sometimes 6 minutes just really doesn't feel like enough.
And then in terms of memorizing something like this, because there's a lot of moves on that wall, how do you do that?
I mean, everybody's different. Some people have that mental capacity to just remember a route in its entirety. I do not. So I rather just try to like teach my body and my mind kind of where all the holds are so that when I get on the wall, I can kind of flow instinctually. I wouldn't go back into isolation and have like and exactly a picture of like, these is all 50 moves, this is exactly what I'm going to do. So, but everybody's different.
And does it ever put you off? Because if you look at a route and you think, that's not my style, or there's a move in there that I'm going to struggle with, can it unsettle you?
I think it can. I think it kind of depends on the level of the competition. Sometimes you'll come out and think that a route maybe looks too easy, and if you haven't climbed well in the previous round, then you might feel like you're not able to make up that extra room. But most of the time, I mean, like I said, 6 minutes often feels quite fast. So you're just trying to like collect as much information as possible, and maybe you're not really processing like the emotions of the route just yet. You're just trying to figure out exactly what you need to do.
Okay, well, thank you, Campbell. It's always great to have our athletes in the commentary box tell us exactly what's going on in an athlete's head. We're almost time to get underway here. The crowd who have been filing into the stadium are waiting expectantly for the athletes. Darkness will start to descend soon. Coming up to 8:30 Central European time here. And this stadium really comes to light when the lights themselves hit the wall. And you can see in the background there a stunning sunset on the mountains that surround this stadium. It is a special place to go climbing. Welcome to Innsbruck then, and it is time to get going for the lead finals. 8 athletes have found their way to this last final climb, whittled down from a big qualifying field of over 60 athletes, 26 in semis, and just 8 have made it this far. And Sebastian Helenke walking on. And Campbell, you said, you know this man really well, but what a comeback from him. A couple of meniscus surgeries on the way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is kind of his second big comeback, really. He disappeared for a little bit, then he was back performing well, disappeared again for some surgeries, and he's here again, and he came straight out, and he didn't feel great in qualies from what I heard, but semi-finals he had a great performance, and yeah, here he is in his first final in quite some time, I think. So yeah, exciting to see him back on the field.
Okay, well, we get our first look at this route. Not the easiest of starts, some thin crimps in there.
Yeah, my first thought looking at the start up close was that it looked kind of sketchy and quite complicated. There's a sequence coming up here. You can see that little pink blocker over a foothold that I think might be some kind of like turnaround sequence, or at least, kind of unsettling and kind of balancy. Likely not too hard, but it's definitely going to be something that, tricks a few athletes into maybe losing their flow. Basti's not necessarily much of a boulderer, so yeah, we'll see how he chooses to progress through.
Yeah, that palm looked a little bit sketchy as he came down, and a slightly weird quick draw combination here as well, with that short one and a long one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost quite close to have the 2 quick draws, so it'd be easy to maybe miss one or, go past it.
Well, he had a look up there. I think he was thinking about right or left hand, but it's big enough to match and take a bit of a breather.
Yeah, looking at the route from the ground, a lot of these holds look quite good, but there's not a lot of feet. So I think it'll be quite a powerful campusy sort of route all the way up into the head wall. And then the head wall here just goes for a really long time.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because it is enormous. Usually we talk about head wall and the angle changes and things are different. Look at this, Sebastian just launching through these sequences. He's got to move quite quickly here, I think. You don't want to be hanging around on those slopers.
No, I don't think so. I think, as I said, the holds are good, but the feet are bad, so you're not necessarily going to get a whole lot back from trying to recover on these holds.
It's a different style of route. If you've watched other World Cups, you tend to get quite a brutal sequence in the middle. This one is real endurance. He loses his feet here, tries to get that left engaged. And these black volumes coming up haven't changed much from the women's route we saw the other day. Similar kind of fridge-huggy moves to come.
Yeah, I think we have another little campus sequence coming up in this bit, so I'll be interested to see how the athletes piece that one together. And yeah, the next section after this fridge-hugging sequence is a little bit cryptic. Probably quite difficult to read from the ground, and you maybe have to be ready to improvise a little bit when you get up there. But yeah, he'll want to get this clip in before he moves over to the next section.
Yeah, Sebastian about halfway through this route now. Adjusts the hands.
Yeah, most of the other World Cups you see athletes, when they reach the head wall, the route's almost over, but the Briançon wall is quite different. A really cool little campus move there. It's quite different in that the head wall is quite long, so we still have, about half the route to go from here.
Yeah, that head wall is coming up there. You can see it on our wide shot. Lots of climbing to go. Now that blue cross above his right hand, that's to indicate the last clipping position. So he needs to clip somewhere around here before moving on.
Yeah, so if he were to progress past this point, he wouldn't receive any points for it. So he has to make sure that clip goes in before he moves on to the next hold.
We've seen quite a few athletes missing quick draws in the last couple of comps, either climbing past and thinking you can clip at a later point and then realizing you can't. But it's
really easy to do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not necessarily, skipping a quick draw doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't know it was there, but quite often you'll think, oh, this hold's not so good, this hold's not so good, and then before you know it, you can't reach the draw anymore, and then you have to either climb back down or just kind of accept your demise, I guess.
Yes. We saw Mia Krampel really battling in Chamonix for that reason.
But yeah, so far he's found pretty good positions for all of the clips.
Now, slightly bad feet through here.
Yeah, quite a technical little sequence, and these volumes have some texture, mostly textured, but then these small sections without texture, which can be quite tricky if you're not familiar with the volumes themselves.
Well, he's through that tricky foot sequence. He's got blue holds to come.
And it looked to me like the route gets significantly harder from this point onwards, so we might start to see him get a little bit more pumped than what we've seen so far, because up until this point, I think he's looked quite confident.
Yes, he's looked in total control, hasn't he? Oh, it comes out to the left, then he loses it. Almost out of nowhere on that move.
Yeah, I think it kicks in pretty fast, similar to the style we saw in semi-finals. You know, it was not super difficult to get up toward the top of the wall, but then, you know, really hard to make it to the finish.
Well, Sebastian's night is over. High up on the head wall. We'll have to wait and see, of course, where that leads him. But the top is the best score you can possibly get, but each hold has a numerical number, and you get a plus for using that hold, so moving your center of gravity and mass and hands towards the next hold. Let's see some of his moments here on our slow motion shots. Boosting up down low onto these big sort of turquoise, I don't know what color to call that, mint perhaps, holds. And then this is where he fell to going left, running out of feet, running out of steam. Sebastian comes down. All right, well, he will now go to the side of the stage on the left where those pads are set up. And we wait for our next athlete, who will be Jutta, coming out onto the stage. There he is, getting ready to climb. Jutta Imiyazumi is underway now into these pinches, and as you said, kind of not easy down low, but maybe a case of just preventing yourself getting too pumped.
Yeah, it's a little bit sketchy. You know, when you step onto the wall, you want to be able to like find your flow and kind of disappear into the route. And some of these sequences with holds you're not so sure of, or maybe like complex movement, makes it quite tricky to find that flow straight off the bat. So you kind of have to get through this tricky sequence and almost reset. And it can really sort of set the tone for the rest of your attempt.
All right, well, he's through that long quick draw, which is really unusual to have that so low on the route. So Jutta making his way through. Nice and smooth so far, got to keep calm. The crowd here in Briançon are pretty educated in terms of watching climbing, so they won't be cheering in weird moments. They'll understand what the athletes are going through.
Yeah, climbing is a big part of the way of life here, I think. There's a lot of really good outdoor climbing around here. And yeah, the French crowd typically just love climbing.
Yes, they do. We saw Chamonix last week. Everyone made the journey down to Briançon. And what a comp that was in Chamonix as well. I don't think I've ever seen a crowd quite that big in the Place du Mont Blanc.
Yeah, it looked huge. Really exciting. I think the French are really getting behind climbing in the lead up to the Olympics as well. There's a lot of publicity and a lot of hype surrounding our sport, which is really exciting to see.
Yes, it is, and a few French stars will be competing in this. Jutta won't be there, as you said, more of a lead specialist. But he made that look a little bit easier than Sebastian did.
I think he's looking not necessarily the most comfortable and most confident. But, you know, yeah, stepping out for a World Cup final is always an intimidating scenario.
Oof, that was close.
So not the same level of confidence we saw from Sebastian. You know, he was having to try hard, but he never looked like he was, you know, in doubt of himself.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a very different kind of climb here.
Yes, I kind of feel like Sebastian feels like he's got nothing to lose and he might as well enjoy it. But for these athletes...
Oh, sorry, his heel just had the littlest slip. He was kind of heel hooking his shoe strap, and I thought it was coming off, but
it was close,
all
wasn't
good.
it?
He didn't... he lives to climb another few moves at least.
Yes, he does. You're right about it. It's kind of like a little bit jerky at the moment. Hasn't quite got his flow in.
And that's exactly like what I was saying before. You know, that start's really sketchy, and you have to be able to like find your flow again. And maybe after a tricky start, he hasn't quite found his flow. It can be really hard to reset mentally and kind of, find your feet again.
Yeah, well, he's underneath these black volumes now. He's had an interesting career. 2021 was the last time he competed before this season. He did Wujiang at the start, did Innsbruck a couple of weeks ago where he was 24th. Oh, wow. Well, that's powerful.
Yeah, looking strong there. I mean, you know, maybe he's a bit shaky, but he clearly still has plenty of power left in the tank.
That was an awesome move to see, locking off that right arm. Okay, he's got to be careful of the rope. He's got to kind of drag it around his ankle, though. He flicks it out of the way and then over his arm. And he will have to flick that hand around the rope again. Oh, and you can see it almost got in the way of that arm.
Yeah, he lost his feet there. Bit of energy gone. Again, little shaky, not having the best climb so far, but sometimes, you know, people just fall their way up the wall for a really standout performance. Struggling with his feet a little bit also.
Yeah, those feet have let him down a few times now. How much has that cost him? You can see on the left the scoreboard, Sebastian's high point of 42 plus. Yuta quite a way below that. Good drop knee there on the pink jib. And then low on these sort of slopey side pulls. As you said, this is the kind of business end of the route from now on.
Yeah, this is where it looks like the route really kicks in and becomes quite bumpy. And we're definitely seeing that, with the fall.
It was coming, wasn't it? We sensed that it was in the mix.
I think this route is very much going to be about how efficiently you can climb up to that point. And then, how much energy you have left when you reach that final section. I think you're going to have quite a lot of energy left to hold those, like to go from those like quite good holds, closed hand crimps into like very open-handed climbing, very physical.
Well, Yuta is done, provisional second, so Sebastian's still in the top spot. Some big names to come though, remember Shiono Mata climbing last, Tony Yoshida and Zento, those three will finish things off for the men. After the men, we will have the women's competition. And let's see some of his highlights then. He was a bit shaky throughout, gave us some scares, but it was a good recovery climb, I think.
Yeah, he was still able to progress quite high on the wall, so never know what we're going to see for the rest of the round, really.
Yeah. Well, and that was the flick around the rope we saw, and then coming out right, didn't have the energy to hold that side pull. But a smile on his face, job done. Next athlete out will be Mototaka. And you can just see him there waiting for his moment. So he's just 18, no medals so far, just one World Cup before this.
Yeah, and this was his first semi-final as well. He was 33rd in Chamonix last weekend.
It's crazy. I feel like there's a real, I hate to say changing of the guard because it makes me sound like I'm discounting athletes, but we've got so many people coming through the ranks at the moment.
Yeah, and the field just shifts a lot, really. You know, we'll see one group of athletes through the semi-finals one week, and sometimes a totally different group of athletes in the next. I think it just speaks to the caliber of the climbers that we have. Doesn't matter whether it's a smaller field like here in Briançon, you really do have to perform to be able to make the next round. You can't really make any mistakes.
No, you cannot. And of course, with the Olympics this year, it's been a strange one in terms of athletes missing some competitions and having very different schedules from each other. You know, there's been some who have done almost every competition, others who have just picked a couple to remind themselves what it's like to compete.
Yeah, a lot of different approaches, for sure. It's hard to know whether you kind of need to get into your groove competing or you just need to train as much as you can and try to be in the best shape that you can.
Well, he rocks up. Got to trust that right foot on. Was not a bad slope, but there's some friction in there. Makes the match, adjusts the feet, and he's got that long quick draw above his head. really working hard on that adjustment. Oh, he hits face on the way through that.
Yeah, kind of quite tentative so far, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, he's taking it slow, making sure he doesn't make any mistakes. Just two fingers, why not?
Pretty casual, eh? Yeah, I don't think time is going to be a factor on this route. Although we did see Zhang Kim pretty much get timed out yesterday. So.
Yeah, we saw a few of the women fall with not much time left. But typically, yeah, time is a bit less of a factor for the men than it is for the women. The men tend to move. Oh, here we go. We're seeing this turnaround sequence like I thought we might.
You spotted this, didn't you? Because you said to me just before, and first one to really do it like this.
I think I saw that this was the intended sequence, but I also did suspect that few people would do it this way.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to set such a complex sequence that it's also easy enough to flash on a lead route. But yeah, so far he's making interesting work of it, but it's almost certainly not the most efficient way to complete the movement.
No, we saw this in Chamonix, actually, a similar style route. Bit of a pop-up and a big swing. We get to bring the feet quickly back in, and he's standing on no-tex with that left foot now.
Yeah, spooky.
Yeah, a bit. I think he was checking the clock. It took him quite a long time to get through that sequence. 3:56 on the clock and not high on the wall yet.
Yeah, 4 minutes is plenty of time, but you know, it does add up. It is still 4 minutes of just, you know, hanging off of small holds, 4 minutes of extra pump potentially. And if he does get stuck a little further up, maybe he doesn't have quite as much time to work out those sequences.
All right, well, interesting round so far. He drops into the black hole, out with the right, shoulders engaged here. Sebastian, I tell you what, made everything look just brilliant out the wall in his first run. It's always hard to tell when you see the first athlete out.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that he's come out early and had a really great result. You know, once you get to finals, especially with the semi-final being so close for so many athletes, it really is like anyone's game in the next round.
Let's see what Motataka can do here. Crosses through into a big pocket. All right, right foot down. You can see our top three so far. Motataka obviously in third at the moment. You can see his score ticking along on that graphic on the left. And now another big move. It's so cool to see that.
Oh, wow. He's really picking the funkiest way to get through every sequence. So probably a bit of a route setter's dream, but he's tangled himself right around that rope.
Now, this could be nasty if he falls here. He's going to want to get that rope out the way as soon as possible. It's still not out the way. Now he's all the way around his chalk bag. Now he gets rid of it, but that would have cost him some energy to sort that.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely like the mental capacity as well. Like having the rope wrapped around you, you want to be able to just focus everything you can on the climbing. And I had that happen to me in qualifications in Wujiang earlier in the year where there was this like crazy sequence, rope got tangled, and yeah, it takes a lot of like mental energy to get yourself out of that position and then back into the flow again.
So look, it's not something any climber would want to happen to him, especially not on a finals. Well, he's through that now though, but it must have cost him some energy. 1:40 on the clock.
Yeah, he's looking good still. Like he's definitely having to try now, but he's I think he's still fighting well. He's not making any stupid decisions so far.
Well, he tried to bring the rope up for a clip, changed his mind, swapped hands with that. Approaching Yuta's point, he fell on 38 plus. He's on 36 now. Trusting his feet, he's holding his nerves so well through this.
Yeah, trying to stay composed. Working hard though, for sure.
He's going to try to get this clip before moving right. Looks at the clock, yeah, he
Less than a
realizes
minute left.
It's not a lot of time here.
No, he'd be hard-pressed to get to the top from here in a minute, but maybe he can set a new high point.
Yeah, 42 plus is what he's aiming for. He won't know the score. He'll just know he needs to get as high as possible. That was close to falling. Matches now. I think he's running out of steam. Yeah, he was low on that.
Okay, provisional second then with the 41 plus.
Well, he's back down to the ground. There's his teammate waiting on the far left. Sebastian on the right. A big smile on his face, whatever. He's one of our shorter athletes. I don't think it really made any difference on that route, though. Well, he seems happy. He will go back to the stage in provisional silver as things stand. Next up will be Max Berton, so wait for this crowd to absolutely come alive here. I like the people in the middle who are lying down with the blankets wrapped around them. That's a good way to enjoy it. All right, well, let's watch some of his moments. It was dramatic, facing the crowd in that stance there, looking nice and calm down there, but he had some moments. This was the rope tangle, and you can see where it happened. And it was there.
Yeah, and then it got tangled around his chalk bag as well as he kind of tried to undo it. And frankly, I think he just made things worse for the most part.
Yeah, yeah, in trying to untangle himself, he tangled himself more. Back down to the ground on that fall. Well, that reaction you can hear in the background is because
big noise from the French crowd.
Well, there he is, waiting in the lights. And he gives a big wave to the crowd as he comes out. Now, as composed as he can be, this has got to be a moment for him in terms of nerves, keeping your breathing calm, remembering the route. There's so much that must be going through Max's head right now.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, yeah, keeping calm in the home World Cup as well, in front of a crowd like this, as the only, you know, French athlete in the final would be quite stressful, I imagine.
Absolutely. Well, he's got 40 seconds here to remind himself of the route. And I like the fact he's taking his time here. He's not allowing the moment to get to him. A deep breath as he walks towards the stage, though. And asking the belayer to go to the other side.
Yeah, it's so important to like really just take the moment in. I think it's so easy to come out under all this pressure and just start climbing without really thinking. So it's nice to see that, you know, he's calm and he's ready to kind of give it his all.
Reaches up high. I know, well, I hope his sister Oriane is watching somewhere in the world. She'll be preparing for the Olympics. And I would imagine pretty proud of her younger brother here. But as we've seen, nervy down low. He's feeling his way through these moves.
Yeah, really sketchy little start. Get you nice and nervous before, you know, kick into the real thing.
All right, drops down. I tell you what, if Max manages to get onto a podium here, this crowd is going to go crazy. Up high into this Gaston-style move. I wonder if he finds this turn. To me, it looks kind of almost more awkward to do that face
I think
move.
so. And I think, you know, it made sense that... oh, he's cheering the crowd on already. Okay.
Yeah, see, that method looks easier to me.
Yeah, 100%. I think so. I think it's almost that you see that it's supposed to look a certain way, and maybe it's almost like a bit of a red herring. It's actually easier or more efficient to climb it in like a more traditional style. Or the route set is just really, really sad that their idea hasn't worked out. I'm not sure.
I was watching Motataka when Max did that move, and he had a big smile on his face, kind of like, oh, okay, I could have done it that way. Up on that heel, crosses through. Hits the pinches, swings the legs. Max looking good so far.
And he has quite a lot of endurance, I've noticed. So I think this route, like climbing efficiently and then having to just kind of fight the pump to the end, could suit him quite well.
And you sometimes see it. I mean, we saw it with Flora in the finals in Chamonix, although Max is having troubles here. Yeah, we saw it with Flora, for example, where, you know, she said to me, look, I've got no expectations on me, so I'm just going to enjoy it. And I think when younger athletes make their first finals, you see moves that you wouldn't see in a more experienced athlete. They just seem to just go for it.
It's interesting, though, how quickly you shift the goalposts of success, because when Flora finished climbing and thought that she wasn't going to make finals, she was really distraught. So, you know, yeah, to go from having no pressure to all of a sudden feeling like not making finals is a failure is like a very real pressure that you have to deal with.
Right.
Consistency can be quite burdensome as well. So it's nice for him to have this experience of the first final, and hopefully he can like keep it cool after this as well.
Agreed, and there's so much more media attention. I mean, from the IFSC's perspective as well, you know, we're interviewing them, we're putting cameras in their faces, and I think it's a good learning experience, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it can definitely feel like a lot to get all this, go from being like a no name to all this extra attention.
Max goes feet first and toes. This is new, and looked great. I wonder if that was the sequence. He certainly made it look like it.
Yeah, it made sense for sure, and he doesn't strike me as like a big, you know, campus style climber. So I think that he made that sequence in a way that worked for him.
And I have a feeling Max might have kept that one to himself, or perhaps did it instinctively.
Yeah, for sure. So much of what you do on the wall isn't necessarily like a premeditated decision. Finals can go so fast. You just have to do what feels right at the time.
Well, he went up with the left hand there, changed into a right heel. That looks better. Yeah, it was smart to readjust that and not just go for the move and fall.
Yeah, you can get your weight on your feet a little bit in this section as well. So maybe get a little bit back, slow the heart rate a little bit.
And he'll shake out here. It's sort of like quite a lonely place to be in front of thousands of people up on that lead wall.
He's looking nice and calm as well, I think. Like, you can tell a climber is relaxed when they take this little extra time to shake each arm. Like, he's really just giving each hand as much time as it needs. You know, when they're rushing between the shakes, sometimes, you know, maybe they don't have enough energy to hang around, but yeah, he's looking good.
All right, well, he's through the bottom half. Let's see how much power he's got in those arms. Gets in a heel, he's got a clip down to his right hip.
Opting not to keep the foot out left for the clip, but a double clip as well, so he's got these out of the way.
And the crowd respond to that one as he creeps up towards the high point here, into the underclink. 38 his score, so now he's on the provisional podium. Oh, look at this from Max, so he's grimacing hard as he tries to make
pump
this.
really starting to kick in, and we lose him at the same move as Sebastian.
So he's got 42 at the moment. Do you think that might be adjusted? Maybe just a bit of a delay?
I think so. I think he'll have the plus pretty quickly. It was a pretty, you know, convincing progression.
Well, after 4 there we go. So after 4 athletes, Max Berton is in the lead.
Exciting. Yeah, it's nice to finish your route in the provisional lead. You know that you haven't lost anything from what you did in semi-finals, so at the very least, you know, you're as well off as you were. You can kind of only do better from here, which is nice.
Well, Max waves goodbye. He'll in front of that crowd. Wow. He'll now go and sit, and as he said, he's done everything he can do. And he now needs to leave it up to the other athletes. Now, this is a new wall for us. It used to be down the hill, and they built this facility last year. It was kind of under development, and they've done some landscaping, improved things. That was his little wave to the crowd down low. I like a little bit of showboating.
Yeah, I really like this this new wall. I think we climbed on it for the first time last year. It's, as I've said, it's super long. I think from, you know, if you set a route from the bottom to the top straight up, it's like minimum 40 moves. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is, and the athletes have been having fun on it for the last couple of days. Right, we'll have a little pause in a minute, but we'll check the results so far. Max Berton leading the way with 42 plus. Sebastian after that. Countback making a difference. That's countback to the semi-finals. Matutaka in third and Yuta in fourth. 4 athletes to go, 4 Japanese athletes to finish things off. You can guarantee some of them will be on the podium. 4 to go then.
I mean, yeah, at least we'll have at least one Japanese climber on the podium guaranteed.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see some of the highlights from earlier on, shall we? Sebastian Helelenke led things off here in Briançon on his comeback from injury, and what a performance from him. He will be happy with that one, I would imagine, and enjoying being in front of the crowd. Yuta came out second, looked a little bit shaky down low, a couple of stabby moments, but he managed to save. That was the heel slip moment, and that was the rope tangle that almost caught him out, but he managed to flick that hand around it. But burnt out a little bit and fell just before you start to traverse to the left on this wall. Matutaka, well, he gave us some drama early on. This was the spin move, fully committed to it, the only athlete to do it like this so far, and he had a rather wry smile on his face, having watched Max do it very differently and him seeing the alternative way for the first time. Spun, campus through, no feet. And this was the rope tangle. Oh, it was a heck of a moment, this one. Spun himself more into it like a spider's web. Eventually sorted it out, hooking it around the chalk bag, but it did cost him some energy. And he fell shortly after that on that move to the side pull. And a big plummet back down to the ground. And then Max Berton, the last athlete out before this halfway point. Huge reaction from the Frenchman and this little cheeky wave at the bottom, encouraging the crowd to get behind him even more. And then this foot-first sequence through the black volumes. No one else has done it like this. It made sense for Max. Bit of composure. And then he fell on the same move as Sebastian to leave him in provisional first. And that is the wall that we keep talking about. Absolutely beautiful structure with a roof protecting the athletes from some of the elements. We got a bit lucky with the weather. Occasionally it pours with rain here in Briançon, but no such issues. And Shuta Tanaka will be our next athlete out. So here we go, as he gets ready to pull onto the wall to begin his finals run. Well, if you are joining us after that little pause, Shuta Tanaka is underway, and Campbell, with 4 to go, 4 remaining. Hard to know if we'll see any tops so far, but an interesting route.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing everyone getting pretty high. We've said it's really a matter of climbing confidently and consistently through the first sort of 2/3 of the route. And then I think once you kick off those big black volumes, it really starts to kick in. And it's a matter of, how much gas you got left in the tank, realistically.
Yeah, let's see what Shuta can do. It's a different schedule here in Briançon. We have a whole day off today, so the athletes do get a bit of a chance to recover. I mean, Campbell, as an athlete, obviously any break is good, but do you sort of lose your flow a little bit, having waited around all day?
I don't know. Yeah, I like to just kind of get things started in the morning, kick off straight away. It's quite interesting having qualifications and semi-finals on the same day. Sometimes, it just makes everything feel like it's going very fast, and it's hard to recover after qualifications. And then, you have this entire day of just nervous waiting around before the finals. So, I like to just get up, have my breakfast, go to the wall, and get started. And it can be quite nerve-wracking waiting for things to hit full gear in the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. All sort of builds to this moment, and you can't forget about it, of course. When you're waking up having your breakfast, you're being reminded there's a finals to come.
Yeah,
so.
I always want to have a sleep in or something, but then usually the nervous energy just wakes me up straight away. And then, you just got to spend the day trying to make sure you conserve as much of your energy as possible. And you're here in this beautiful, beautiful town in the middle of France, and you kind of just have to sit in your hotel room and wait, really.
All right, well, Shuta crosses through, a little bobble on the foot, smearing on the wall here. And he's got that left foot buried deep into that pocket underneath.
Yeah, not a lot of feed through this section, so the speed with which you're able to make decisions is really, really important.
And a big move out to the pocket. He actually made that shoulder catch look a bit smoother than everyone else.
Yeah, he's looking good so far. Okay. He was training in Innsbruck while I was there over the last couple of weeks, and looking in really good form, trying some really hard routes and getting super high. So cool to see him in finals and see that work paying off.
Yeah, Innsbruck, a bit of a hub for lots of European athletes, but of course international ones as well. It's a wall with a lot of hard climbing on it. Yeah,
so many hard routes and quite a central location as well. You can fly into Munich and catch the bus and you're there, and I don't think you'll find anywhere in the world with quite as many hard comp-style routes all in one place.
Yeah, and that's where these athletes, or a lot of them, have been preparing, because Innsbruck was a couple of weeks ago, so people have been based out of there. Right, crosses through to the pockets. Can't wait to see this move now. We've seen so many different variants of athletes coming through here. He's going foot first. Will he go double foot? Max got some toes involved here, and you can see Max there on your screen.
Yeah, it's tricky to go foot first here and not take up too much space with your feet as well.
It's almost like he kind of got stuck in two minds.
Yeah, I think so. He's not quite sure with how he wants to progress. maybe it would have been more efficient in this instance not to use his feet and just campus through. I think, you know, we're often taught as we're learning to climb that you want to use your lower body as much as possible, but sometimes it really is just faster and more efficient to just campus through. Because he would already be through the sequence and, you know, he's kind of spent a few extra moves trying to figure it out this way.
Yes, and I think he's in some trouble here because a down climb like that is very physical to do and obviously psychologically tricky to manage. He is in some trouble. He's trying to match his hands. All types of problems. Now he manages the match, but does he have the power for this campus? Well, he swings through okay, but
he's going to have to match again. I'm not sure if this hold is perhaps a bit more accommodating for that than the last one. Yeah, not such a struggle there. Yeah, I often say when you see an athlete start to climb back down, unless it's for a quick draw, they're maybe not going to be climbing up for too much longer. But, you know, it looks like he's found a little spot to recover here. The route is perhaps a little bit more forgiving than other finals that we've seen.
Yeah. No, I think you're right with that analysis. It's exactly that. But, and a minute 18 on the clock as well, so it cost him in time.
Exactly. And he wants to be able to use as much of this time as possible to recover as much as possible. But at the end of the day, you know, is a minute long enough to make it to the top of the wall from here? Probably not.
No.
But maybe he can push it for a high point.
Well, he's got a lot of work to do here. So he comes into that left hand, makes the clip. Max did a double clip here. He's, oh, sorry, in the next bit. Right, so adjusting with the feet. Yeah, time is going to cause him problems. I'm not sure he's got time to get to the high point, to be honest.
Yeah, it would be quite a struggle, especially I don't know if he's aware of the time. He's still moving quite slow and controlled. Sometimes, you know, you think 6 minutes feels like a long time. A lot of the time it's hard to stay on the wall for 6 minutes. And then every now and again you do. And you barely realize that it's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no sort of buzzers that goes like in bouldering to remind you.
Exactly. Yeah, there used to back in the day be a 1 minute warning, but now you can check the time yourself. Athletes are always able to look back and see the time. Worst case scenario, they can ask for the time. But yeah, with 12 seconds left, he's still shaking out. I would hazard a guess that he doesn't realize that his time is about to end.
Yeah, 6 seconds. He will get called down eventually, but it's quite hard to hear sometimes, so don't expect him to... Oh, the DJ's announced it, and he slips as well. Not the best of runs, and it has left him outside of the podium as well for Shuta Tanaka.
Yeah, unfortunate when it works out like this, and you know, it's really part of the game when you have a quote-unquote easier route like this one. Time management is really a factor because, you know, we saw where these athletes have fallen. There's quite a few moves left to go, and they're already at the 41, 42 move mark. So, you know, you break down that many moves across a period of 6 minutes, and it's not a whole lot of time to spend hanging around at each hold. You know, you really have to pick your moments when to charge through and when to take a second and breathe.
No, exactly that. Well, this was where it started to go wrong. That was when he'd worked the sequence out, although those matches as well, just not the most efficient way through. And the foot pop, but he had run out of time by that stage.
I think at that point as well, the belaya maybe had been pulling him off.
Oh, okay, bit of a tug.
Which can cause your feet to slip when, like, your body position changes.
Okay, Zento Murashita comes out onto the pads. The pads? No pads here. Onto the, what do you call it? Stage, I
onto
guess.
The stage,
yes.
I guess. Onto the field of play, if we're getting, you know, technical.
Thank you. I'm glad one of us is professional here. Well, he was 9th in Chamonix, 11th in Innsbruck, and he competed in Wuzhang, so clearly he's going for the lead season here. Wuzhang was his best result so far in 4th. And before that, Junior Youth World Championships, where he picked up a bronze medal.
Yeah, quite young, and already picking up some pretty standout results, which is cool. And yeah, I find the young athletes tend to perform quite well at these like longer World Cups as well. Yeah, maybe when the moves aren't quite as hard individually, it's a lot easier to find that flow.
Yeah.
And yeah, young guys sometimes don't feel quite as much pressure maybe, or are able to just sort of disappear into their climbing. It depends.
And that's something I think we've seen more this year than any other year, is the young guns coming through. So many 16-year-olds. I remember when 16 was a real talking point. Now it's just something we mentioned.
Yeah, really common. But then you also have these athletes like these older, quote-unquote older guys. You know, Sebastian Halenke is a bit older than I am. Jakob Schubert is climbing stronger than he's ever climbed before, and he's in his 30s. So yeah, it's really interesting to see, and I think, yeah, different styles of routes can favor different kinds of climbers.
Yeah, and there's the most stunning of sunsets. You could see it there, purple-kissed clouds in the background. Absolutely beautiful. Right, what's he going to do here? Will he spin? No, he doesn't spin.
Yeah, he got that left foot onto the foothold that's blocked by that pink blocker, and I think from there it was pretty clear he was going to just step through.
Right, so cruising at the moment, nice and calm, and actually one of the smoothest opening sequences we've seen.
Yeah, he's looking really good. I mean, he is the first of our athletes who topped the semi-final. So these last 3 climbers all finished the semi-final route, and it counted back to the qualifications. So it's kind of anyone's game on who could, you know, take the winning performance after this point.
Yeah, that's a good point and worth remembering at home. So if every one of these last 3, all of them top the route, then we do go back to count back. And we've seen this happen quite a few times, especially, let's say, the Aymori-Yanni Gambret battle that happened in Innsbruck.
Yeah.
It just shows how important the semi-final is at the
moment.
moment.
Yeah, 100%. You know, even qualifications, regardless of the depth of the field, you know, you have to put in a good qualifying performance, because if 2 athletes, top, or even if they fall on the same move, it has to go back to the qualifications and to the semi-finals to determine a result.
Yeah. And obviously a lot of people, you know, tend to criticize that, but it's hard for the setters to get that much separation.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, sometimes it really is just 2 athletes falling on the same move, and there can be so many different factors as to why that happens. Yeah, so it's hard to be perfect, but, you know, that is part of why we have 3 separate rounds of competition, is that to, you know, have that separation, so that ideally we never have to go back to time as a factor. You know, you want it to be on a, you know, the basis of the merit of one's climbing, and if it happens to go back to the semi-finals, then that's just part of the game.
I completely agree with you. Time is the worst. All right, well, he's so, I mean, compared to the other athletes who got through that sequence, that's the best I've seen.
Yeah, he looked really good. He had like maybe a little bit of a, not a slip, but, you know, not super controlled coming in, but yeah, he's got just under 3 minutes left, so plenty of time if he doesn't spend too much time hanging around in this next sequence.
Yes, well, this is impressive stuff. He's checking the clock as well, 2:30.
It's quite easy to look back and see 2 minutes 30 and be like, oh my gosh, like that's not much time. But, you know, yeah, you do it, just have to stay calm, and if he manages his time from here on out, there's, you know, plenty for him to make it to the finish.
All right, so he's really left things in a good position here as he comes up to the first of the slopey left-hand holds. Rocks up on that right foot into the pinch. It's almost hypnotic watching him at the moment. He's so calm.
Yeah, he's really flowy. He's climbing really well. He's, you know, he's taking the time he needs to make good decisions. He's not rushing anything so far. I'm talking about, you know, that efficiency before reaching the hard sequences of this route. I think so far it looks like he might have nailed it.
I agree with you. This is good stuff. Swings those legs over. Now, for the first time, you see a little bit more effort going on. Had to work for that move as well.
Yeah, shaking out though, still looking pretty confident. You know, casually into the 42, but this is making the clip as well.
He's fine, isn't he? He's definitely got energy to burn.
Yeah, 43 confidently. We're seeing some new territory from this point onwards.
Yes, he bumps Max out of the top spots. He's into provisional gold. He hasn't done that clip. Oh, forget what I was about to say. He makes it work with the right hand.
Really stretched out.
A jump to come, though. No. And a jump like that, you know, you might look composed when you're doing moves without dynamic sequences in, but the second you have to jump, you then realize the pump.
Well, yeah, for sure. You know, he was coming from such like a stretched, elongated position. You could see his fingers were quite open. He was in what we call like drag, where your fingers are almost straight. And it can be, you know, it's nice to hang back on a drag, but it's quite hard to generate like a lot of force from it. So yeah, it's like, you know, trying to do a pull-up, and the start is always the hardest bit, or the hardest bit to do fast, you know, so that's kind of what he had to do there, and it was just a little bit you know, yeah, a little bit stretched out.
That's such a good way to describe it, actually. You're totally right. It's that first bit on the pull-up is hard.
That initial activation. You don't have a lot, like you're activating kind of the smaller muscles. You don't have a lot of wiggle room to generate a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he'd already climbed, you know, 40-something moves. He's probably pretty tired at that stage.
Well, good work from him. He's in provisional first place. 2 strong athletes to come, though. Both of those topped the routes, so we'll have to wait and see. That was the move that finally got him, but what a performance from him. Great work. Falling on our Trango Quick Draws, new sponsor for the IFSC. Nice to see those keeping the athletes safe. So Satoshi Yoshida coming out onto the stage, and I'm loving watching him climbing at the moment.
Yeah, he's looking in really, really good form. Yeah, quite a lot of participations considering he's only 20 years old, 31 times in the World Cup, and a 1 bronze medal as well. And like we said before, he's performing really well in the bouldering at this point, and looks like that sort of extra power is, you know, translating over into his lead climbing as well.
Let's see what he can do here. He has those wrists always taped like that. I need to ask him about that, actually. I'm not sure.
Yeah, wrists taped and those little, I think they're like acupuncture pads.
Yeah, they're bits of, well, it's either 2 things. It's either they have a bit of metal in them, or it's kind of like a pressure point thing.
Yeah, yeah, I think I've worn them before, tried them before once, but, you know, to each their own, I guess.
Yes, exactly. I'm not sure medically how proven they are, but why not? Yeah, he was 12th in Chamonix, 12th in Innsbruck, 11th in Wujiang, so consistently in the top 10, but be good and obviously improving on that here. And he does like this wall. He was 3rd in Briançon back in 2023, so last year, when he was 19.
Yeah, this event is really the, like, lead specialist haven. You know, we get like some jumps and stuff, but the wall is just so long and the routes tend to be very old school in style. So yeah, a lot of the lead specialists really like this event.
I'd imagine, Campbell, obviously you're in the Olympics this year, but I imagine maybe looking forward to the disciplines being separated perhaps in the future.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think even if the disciplines aren't going to be separated, I think I'm really going to enjoy switching back to lead as my specialty in the coming season. It's really difficult to manage both and perform well in both, and I think for me, like, my bouldering really improved and my lead is just like not quite where it has been. So, you know, it's been a really, really interesting journey. It's going to be nice to switch back and just enjoy my favorite discipline for a little while.
Yeah. I like how you use the word interesting, where I imagine you meant frustrating sometimes.
Sometimes frustrating, yeah. Parts of it have been like really wonderful. There's always something you can take from the other discipline.
Yeah.
But then also frustrating, you know. Yeah. It's made me realize how much I love lead, and no matter how good my bouldering gets, I want to be a really great lead climber. So, you know, it's nice to know that about yourself, I guess.
No, absolutely. So Satoshi has been good down low here. Let's see if he can do this smoothly. He's going foot first as well, and then changes his mind. That's the difference. He tried it and immediately swapped rather than going back.
He made, you know, really quick decisions and has heaps of time as a result.
So good work from him, no issues, didn't get caught in the trap. Has the heel and the right toe on, nothing smearing on that black volume. And you were saying how hard it is to tell what the texture's like on those black volumes.
Yeah, I mean, something else that's quite interesting about this event specifically is a lot of the holds aren't what we are used to seeing in other parts of the circuit. Yeah, and so there's sections of these volumes that are quite textured, and then other parts that are quite slippery, and some that maybe look textured but don't actually feel that good when you get to climb on them. And you know, you mix that in with all these different jibs and volumes that you've never grabbed before, and it's like it's a whole different game.
And a hard one to read from the ground, of course. So up he goes, darkness descending now on the stadium. So out with the right hand, there's a thumping heartbeat of a tune playing in the background here.
Yeah, really good at confident climbing so far.
Murashita far out in front with that 47 plus. Crossing through, good so far. Up he pops.
Yeah, looking easy thus far. Little fumble with the right hand, but he made it work. And he's starting to look real pumped at this section. But he makes it work.
Yeah, that's going to push Mats further down the order. It's the left now. Oh, no, hand. What was it? Pop? I think it's like a dry fire almost.
Yeah, dry fire, I think you could definitely see a couple holds before he hit the hold, really, his fingers were really closed on it, and they just like were slowly opening. That was kind of where I thought he was going to lose it. He managed to get a few more moves through, but yeah, just wasn't able to apply quite as much force as he needed on that hold, and then, yeah, it fired off. So, yeah, a bit of a shame.
And you can see from his reaction, I think he probably had more to give there.
I think so. I think he felt like, he'd pulled it back in and he was back in the zone, and then, yeah, wasn't to be.
No, well,
it's so easy to feel like you've lost out on a big opportunity when you're feeling like that, and it doesn't come together. So yeah, it's a difficult emotion to deal with.
Yes, it is. Well, we'll see some of his highlights. He's waved goodbye to the crowd off camera now after composing himself a bit. Good decision making down low when he flicked from feet first to hands first. Let's have a look. Yeah, that wasn't the best angle. This is a better angle to sit. Yeah. Fully fired off with that right hand.
You can see like a sweaty line of his fingers.
Well, he's done whatever. Let's see the next athlete. So last climber out then, Shiona Mata. Here climbing in last position because he qualified in first. He probably would have heard that shout actually from Satone backstage, so he knows something would have happened. Whether he would. Actually, we have a view of the backstage area, and I caught him just pacing back and forth a couple of minutes ago, like a sort of a tiger waiting there.
Hearing everything that's going on around the back, and you get all these little cues as to how the route might be going. He would know that people are getting high because, if someone's taking 6 minutes to climb the route, they're probably getting pretty far through it, or at least they have the opportunity to shake out and to rest. So he knows that if he wants to get a good result out of this final, he also has to climb super high. But at the end of the day, all of this information or all these conclusions are just speculative. So sometimes you can get stuck in your own head about what the final maybe does or doesn't look like and how people are or aren't performing.
And on the flip side, I guess he would have known there's no top so far because he would have heard a bigger reaction. Yeah, you can usually hear whether there's been a top or not. I guess he might not know, though, because the main isolation area is quite far from the wall. Good point, yeah. And he's in the second half of this final, so he might not have heard how the first few climbers are going. So as far as he knows, this route was topped initially, but yeah, it's quite hard to tell, and it's really easy to guess. Yes. All right, well, let's see if he hasn't talked himself out of climbing well on this one. Facing into the wall. So no dramatic moment. Comes up with the left hand, keeps the right foot on for a long time. Good tension to do that. And up underneath with the hands. Gets a heel in. Cruising so far, as we'd expect. Of course, we don't know how much energy they're expending on moves like this. Look at that backdrop. Mountain silhouetted now. Darkness almost complete. Yeah, the spotlights come out and it really changes the whole atmosphere of the event. Yeah. It's so much fun to climb under a spotlight. I've only gotten to do it like a handful of times, but yeah, it really does make a difference on the whole atmosphere of the event. I think I'd want to be in the women's side of the competition tonight. You climb in the full darkness. Yeah, that is super cool. Although it is past my bedtime, as we get into the later evening. Oh, you're gonna have to stay with me. You're not gonna leave me, are you? Oh no, okay, no, I'll be here. Goodness. I was thinking about this yesterday because our semi-final went quite late, and we were. I was like, I usually have to have like a Red Bull or a coffee like 2 hours before I climb, and I'm like, imagine having a Red Bull at 9 p.m. and then doing a final and having to try to go to bed and be ready for the next day. Yeah, it's true. It's very intense. Absolutely. And the humidity creeping up, 43% now. We saw this last night as well. It rises throughout the evening. Doesn't really affect the athletes too much. It's
No,
cool enough.
The temperature drops quite a bit. It's quite hot during the day here at the moment, and then really cold in the evening.
Yeah.
It's easy to be caught off guard as you are. You know, the final goes from being in the mid-20s to the mid-teens.
Absolutely. Well, he's going for the big foot swing. Now, we've seen quite a few Japanese athletes try this, and not many commit to it. Only Max has made it work. Well, that's nicely done. A good hybrid of the two methods.
He's looked a little pressured or a little nervous in through some parts. Like, I don't know. There's just a little something about his movements that he wants to be as efficient as possible, and maybe it looks a little forced sometimes.
Well, so far, Morishita and Yoshida are guaranteed medals. Just depends on what color they are. Max still in the running for a podium, but this is the only man who can take him off that.
And yeah, but even though he looked like he was maybe trying to over-control things earlier, he still looks really fresh. You know, it doesn't look like it's had any, you know, massive impact on his form so far. He looks, you know, yeah, really in control still. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him, you know, cracking that top 3.
Okay, he's still got some work to do, though. Let's see how much energy he's got left. Brings the feet through underneath. You just got to believe in the rubber on your shoes here. Oh, and that was a bit awkward. I think he'll drop right before making the clip. Oh, he's not comfortable here.
Yeah, you're having to trust some pretty sketchy feet in this section.
Well, now he's got it in and makes the double clip, perhaps making up for that moment of hesitation. One minute 35 on the clock, no problems with time. This is where we ramp it up, though. He's on 37 now.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he lost a little bit of energy between the steep and coming into this head wall.
I agree.
And will it be, you know, enough if he keeps pushing through? But yeah, still good.
Well, he's nearing Max's score here, so if he goes a bit higher. Oh, and he looks in trouble. Can he make this move? No, he can't. But we think countback should push Max out.
That looked to me like a 42 plus, which would, push Max off of the podium. There we go, and we can see the update coming through now. So Shinomata in the provisional bronze medal.
Well, a Japanese lockout of the
oh no, he just threw up.
Oh, I think that's pure fatigue, maybe nerves kicking in.
Yeah, that's. I hope he's okay.
Yeah. Well, not the nicest of moments to be caught on camera. I think he is all right. Just.
I've honestly, I've had moments in World Cups where it's, you know, sometimes you just try so hard and you're so nervous, and it really does feel like you might throw up.
Yes.
So I can really empathize with the poor guy right now. I hope he's feeling okay.
Yes, I hope the cameras give him a little bit of space, because I think it all kind of caught up with him then in that moment.
Oh.
Well, he certainly gave it everything on the route.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he's having that conversation. Yeah, well, sit down. I think I would too. Well,
yeah, take a moment, have a drink of water, maybe rinse your mouth out.
All right, well, let's see some of his moments then. It was on those black boxes that cost him. That clip actually was pretty important. I think that's what cost him the win, but it is a podium place. All right, out he goes. Hits that left hand, and that was the big dry fire. Just got him into bronze, though. It was, kind of a pop with the right hand.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, you know, as you get pumped and you can't apply as much force as you need to, it becomes a bit more likely that your hands are going to, you know, fire off.
So a Japanese lockout of the podium then. Zuta Morishita leading the way with 47 plus, way out in front. Then Satomi Yoshida and Shion Omata making up our top 3. Max Berton close on his first finals, but not quite. Sebastian Halenke, what a performance in 5th.
Yeah, really fantastic, you know, coming out early and showing us some really special climbing. And I think, you know, we've seen exactly how important performing in the semifinals is.
Yep.
You know, that final bronze medal position going back to the performance in the previous round.
Yeah, and then, that 42 plus, as you said, highly important. Matsutaka after that, Shuta Tanaka and Yuta finishing things off. So that's the men's finals done. We'll have a little bit of a turnaround here before the women's finals. 8 more athletes to come. And they will clear the stage and get ready for the next climbers. So, Campbell, you're going to go and interview Zento. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Hopefully you can have a Red Bull on the way, and I'll see you in a bit.
Awesome. See you soon.
Well, as the stadium is reset, the crowd will have a little moment to pause as well. We'll turn our attention from the left of the wall over to the right of the wall on the women's route. Some dramatic moves there as well waiting for us. And wow, it really is a packed field here. The stands at the back selling climbing gear, clothes, food. The drinks are flowing. It's a fun atmosphere here. And as Campbell said earlier, it's a real climbing town, this one. There's some wonderful places to go. Cragging, rock climbing on a rope, or bouldering in Alfred, for example. And a lot of the athletes will be doing that in the next few days over the weekend. And you can see that. That's the future of our sport, for sure. And pretty happy to be on camera as our camera picks them out. That's our top 3. Great performances, especially from the man in the middle. 47, way out in front of everyone else. So Tony Yoshida there, nodding his head. But yeah, what a performance from those 3. There is a podium to come later on. That will follow at the end of the evening after the women's. And they will leave the stage and go back and find Campbell, who has the microphone. So just a reminder, you can follow along for extra content on the World Climbing Club on YouTube, free to watch. Not only do we have results and highlights, we have interviews backstage. We sneak into places like isolation to give you guys an insight into what goes on behind the scenes at a World Cup as well. We have the grid walk, where I wander around trying to annoy athletes as they're trying to qualify, getting some pretty unique reactions from them. All that is free to watch on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe for that. And of course, follow along on all our social media, Instagram, Flickr, and the rest. Facebook for updates. Well, the wall dropping into darkness there for a moment. It's like someone hit the dimmer switch, but it comes back on now. Then everyone will reset and get ready for the women, who will be announced and introduced. Let's have a look at the men's winner, shall we? Great performance from Zento Murashita. Yeah, it was a strong performance throughout the run from him. It was just his calmness that impressed me. Super focused, not really much drama going on. Committed to that campus move well. Although I did love Max's foot first rattle through that. And that was where he fell, jumping outright, finally running out of steam, but a great climb from him high up on this stunning Briançon wall. Well, the women will be waiting patiently in isolation for their turn to climb. 8 more athletes will be joining us in a few minutes, and we will find out who will get onto the women's podium. All that to come, of course. The light show continues here in Briançon. And a shout out to our photographers here who are working behind the scenes as well. Yeah, you can check out Jan Vert's photography on the IFSC Instagram page and go give him a follow as well. Our photographers join us at every event, capturing all of the rounds. And a reminder, we had speed as well the other night. You can see the speed wall on the left. Great competition that was. Well, Campbell has found Zento, so let's go backstage and catch up with our winner, shall we?
Zento, congratulations. You came so close to a podium earlier in the year and you've just won your first World Cup. How do you feel?
初めての優勝どう感じますか？
まあ、すごい嬉しいのとびっくりしているのが半分くらいです。
He really happy and also surprised he got a one. And that's it.
How did the route feel for you? Do you feel like you were able to put in your best performance today?
今日のルートをどう感じましたか？ベストパフォーマンスでしたか？
最初から自分のペースで登れて自分の実力を出し切れたと思います。
He could push his limit and then he could perform it very well.
Well, I'm super glad to hear that. Again, congratulations and best of the luck for the rest of the season.
残りのワールドカップも頑張ってください。
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, Yuka there, an ex-comp climber, doing the translation for us. Thank you very much to her. So, almost time for the women's competition. 8 athletes to come, as we said. Flora, 2 16-year-olds in the finals. For the women, exciting times to come with Laura Rogera qualifying in first position. And you can see there the crowd who are taking a moment to stretch their legs, relax, have a little dance, why not? And Campbell is joining me back in the commentary box, and we will take you through the women's in a second. Excellent dancing there, 10 out of 10. That's a high point for the women's dancing competition. I think I'm going to start a dancing competition for the crowd. Oh, there, this isn't bad. I like the arm shake. I'm enjoying the crossing. I feel like they could do a little bit more standing, a little bit of footwork out there. So not top marks, but not bad. And yeah, you can see everyone really enjoying the atmosphere. There are drinks flowing on the right. See that you've got to stand up if you're going to win the dance prize. You can't just sit down. That's not good enough. Well, Campbell is back in the commentary box with me. We'll talk to him in a couple of seconds and find out what went on behind the scenes. So, Campbell, interesting from Zento there, pushing his limits, he said.
Yeah, he said it seemed to be that he was happy with his performance. He was surprised to win. But yeah, he seemed really excited.
All right, well, the women have been announced. They're walking forward into the spotlight.
It was interesting standing behind the wall. I could overhear the women talking, and Flora was asking the other girls who they thought was going to win. And they said, oh, the men? And she's like, no, like our competition. Who do you think's going to win?
Really?
And she says, not me. I'm not good at the super pinches. And then Mattea says, oh, well, you didn't think you were going to make finals. So, yeah, I thought that was quite a funny little conversation to overhear.
We need to send you as a spy back more often. That's brilliant.
I just love that question. Who do you think's going to win? And everyone's like, well, I probably hope it's me, but I'm not going to say that it's me.
I think some mind games going on there from Flora. I'm
yeah,
impressed by that one. Well, Flora was introduced. Rosa was introduced. Natsumi Oda is next. She's just 16 as well. Yeah, these athletes, stars. Alexandra Totkova, I remember when she was 16, 19 now. And yeah, really settled in as she, you know, she's had an up and down last couple of years.
Yeah, she came out first season of the year, bronze medal, and then I think was struggling to make semi-finals in some instances, and has really had a return to form this year, which is really exciting to see.
Yes, it is. And this lady here coming back as well, returning to the comp climbing circuit. Jane Kim, well, she left us a couple of years ago. She's returned as well.
Casually had a baby, came back, won a World Cup, and almost qualified for the Olympics.
Yeah, they're very, very close. And as you said, it's good. She's almost just seeing that OQS thing as something that happened, and she's just flowing back into the World Cups.
Yeah, and she's straight back in, which she's been my idol since I was a kid, you know, so watching her still competing in competitions, especially as I'm getting a little older as well, and seeing someone else who's much older than myself just performing at such a high level amongst all these very young competitors is so inspiring.
Agreed. Well, Mattea Pozzi, and I got to say I'm proud of Mattea Pozzi. I spent a lot of time with her in the commentary box, and it's so good to see her performing this well.
Yeah, I was training with her in Innsbruck and a little bit, and I got the feeling that she was onto something good. She seemed to be in really good shape. And then, yeah, so far the season has just been absolutely standout for her.
Agreed. And Laura Rogera last, and the women having one last long look. Look how relaxed Mattea Pozzi is. I saw her there with a little smile on her face as she was leaving.
Yeah, she has a really good opportunity for a really special result here. I wonder if she's feeling that pressure, you know, after semi-finals, coming out and, you know, tying the high point with Laura. this could be her comp to lose, maybe, you know?
This is it. She's suddenly become someone we're talking about being a favourite. And, you know, I think she'd admit that she wasn't that a couple of comps ago.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when she made finals last year, but outside of that, she was one of those climbers who was either just in semis or just outside of semis. And then, you know, apart from her slip up in the dyno in qualifications, she's just like, yeah, 3 finals in a row, consistently performing. And, you know, one of a very strong Austrian team. You know, not only have we had Jessie Flora Mattea in finals, we had Julie Fischer in a 9th place in Innsbruck, just outside of finals. Eva Hammelmüller is 2 semi-finals in out of 3 this season. Really, really strong performances from the Austrian women.
Yes, agree with that one. Well, they'll be waiting. This was observation happened earlier on. You can tell because it's daylight there in those shots. And the women with the binoculars out, staring up at the wall, reading the routes together, trying to figure out the sequences and work out what exactly is going on with this women's route. There's an interesting sort of lâché style move quite low, which is on big holds. And you can see we're coming up to that lâché in a minute. On that's the black volume. They'll skip across and then some pretty big holds to come. There's Mattea and Flora reading the route together. I actually think that slip for Mattea was probably the best thing that could have happened to her in a weird way, because it sort of shook her, you know.
Yeah.
And I think she just felt like she had nothing to lose, and almost that pressure went away
Well,
for a
yeah,
while.
because it was I think she had, that was her first route of the day where she fell at the 8+. And yeah, you just, you know, generally when you fall at 8+, you assume your chances of making the semi-finals are pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just go into the next route doing whatever you can, and then, yeah, now she's in finals, so I'm sure she's just grateful.
All right, well, those are the athletes who will compete in a couple of moments. Flora out first, having qualified in last, and Laura out last, having qualified in first. Not quite as many Japanese athletes in this one. Meika Taki and Natsumi Oda representing for them. With Slovenia back in the running with Rosa Recker. And yeah, honestly, look at this list of names, and it could be anyone's competition. Let's see what happens. Yes, it really is anyone's game, this one. Laura Rogerer doesn't like dynamic moves or particularly powerful moves, and therefore this wall, as you were saying, a bit old school in terms of endurance, this might suit her.
Yeah, and I mean, her first World Cup win was here in Briançon as well, so she has a history of performing at this venue. We do have a small jump pretty early on in this route as well, which they've been giving the women a fair share of jumps this year. But I don't think it looks like it poses too much of an issue. It's certainly not a very like morpho jump, meaning that I don't think it's super height dependent.
Yeah.
If anything, being small is maybe kind of helpful because the foot is quite high.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see if she's able to kind of handle the mental pressure of that move more so than I think she'll have to handle like the physical capacity of whether or not she's able to do the move.
Yeah, okay, well, that's to come. Flora is underway. She was our Athlete of the Week on YouTube the other week, having made her first finals and was impressive there. Stepping through, the 16-year-old taking it all in her stride at the moment. Let's see how long that will stand, though. Will she start to feel a little bit of pressure? Out with the right hand.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying that she's, you know, feeling some of that pressure. But, you know, yeah, feeling the pressure is one thing, and crumbling under the pressure is entirely another. And, it doesn't look like she's crumbling anytime soon.
No, certainly not yet. Well, here she comes, entering. There's the blue cross that indicates the clip. Same with the men's route. You don't want to be doing this jump without that clip. That would be very, very dangerous. So Setter's making sure of that. Right, here we go. First moment for the women, this. And I think she's trying to go for the high clip off what is a jug, but it is a long way above her head.
Yeah, right. So she's got, you know, plenty of time to acclimatize herself to, you know, what's in front of her. And then, yeah, she's going to be able to give this move a go when she's ready.
Got to be careful with the hands around that rope as well. Starts the swing, easy stuff.
Yeah, and as we could see there, it's like from quite a good hold to another quite good hold. It's just like the mental gymnastics of having to completely let go on a lead route and just kind of trust that you've found the right position.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual, isn't it? Last couple of years we've seen this happen more and more. I remember the World Champs in Bern, there was one in the men's route, which was kind of a bit of a surprise. You know, it's a new style of setting.
For sure, for sure. And they're so risky in lead. You know, I don't know if we'll ever see lead becoming quite as new school as we've seen in boulder, because, you know, there's a very fine line between a dyno that can be flashed and a dyno that just can't.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always going to be this little like mental sort of mental challenge for the athletes.
Well, you can't, you know, practice it, can you? In boulder, you can have a
Exactly.
few goes and learn the sequence.
Exactly.
Well, Flora almost missed the jib down where her foot is, but she managed to correct it. Now makes small adjustments on these slopey holds and is quickly nearing the halfway mark here. Oh, but her feet totally went that time.
Yeah, super unexpected fall there. I was just thinking how you know, strong she was looking, and then the foot just went, and she looks, you know, not super happy. But that's to be expected. It's really unfortunate when that happens and you feel like you have a lot more to give.
Yeah, she's talking to herself. We can see her mouth moving. The camera can't. Now we can. And yeah, just having a word. An obvious frustration is she almost storms off the stage, which you would do. You just sometimes want to get out the lights, don't you?
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing about being in a World Cup final or any kind of like high-level final is, you know, sometimes you just want to go off and cry, and then you have to sit in front of this crowd of thousands of people with cameras on you, and, you know, everyone's looking, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is part of the game. Climbing is such a growing sport. I mean, the viewing figures are huge. All right, next up will be Rosa Reka. Okay, so the young Slovenian athlete is waiting in the wings. There she is, Rosa Reka, 18. First final, so whatever happens, this will be a PB, and only her third ever Senior World Cup final, so pretty impressive stuff. There was a time where I was a bit worried about the future of Slovenian climbing. You know, I was wondering who was going to come through, and we've seen, you know, Jennifer Buckley come into finals.
Yeah, because it really was, there's like Janja, Mia, Vita, Luchka, although she's, you know, taking a break right now, but yeah, these like same big names coming through from the Slovenian team. But you know, eventually someone's going to come through and like keep up with that level, and yeah, we're definitely starting to see that now.
Yeah, the future is bright for Slovenian climbing. We'll be going over to Koper for a World Cup after the Olympics in September.
Yeah, she's this is only her second ever semi-final as well. She had 25th in Koper last year, 29th in Chamonix last weekend, so no semi-finals, and then here in finals as well. Which is super impressive. I mean, I think when you aren't at the World Cups, it's easy to think that, you know, some of the big names, the Olympians, aren't here, so that perhaps the field is weaker. But, you know, once you actually do the competitions and you see the level, it's really not the case. Like, the depth of quality goes so deep in some of so many of these countries. You see so many athletes, and you really do just have to perform, you know, just as well to make a semi-final or a final or a podium as you do at kind of any other World Cup, really.
Absolutely. I mean, winning here, whoever is here or not, it's still a massive achievement. Okay, she's climbing a little bit slower than Flora did down low. She'll get herself set up for this jump to come. And we saw Flora breathing hard on this moment, just composing herself. It's just a nervy thing to do. Well, a little foot pop there. Gets the high clip in. Okay, she sets herself for this jump.
Size everything up, make sure the rope is... Oh, but she's got her arm behind... There we go, she fixes that.
Yeah, she had a...
you want to make sure that rope is as out of the way as it can be.
She gets the range, jumps, yes! Good work from her.
Once again, intimidating, but, you know, not so hard.
No. All right, so that's the scary bit done. Now you've got to get on with the climbing part of this route. 4 minutes on the clock. She's resting with a high left heel on what is a brilliant hold for a World Cup route, obviously put there because of the jump.
Yeah, I always say whenever you get a jug in a World Cup, it's because you probably have to do something really special with it. Yeah, it's usually some kind of jump or, you know, crazy campus, something like that. You know, the jugs don't come easy.
No, they do not. All right, well, she's into the oranges now. Now, this jib up high is quite hard to see. It's kind of blind when you're in her position. And look, she's missed it again, makes the adjustment, and now finds it.
And quite often you'll see jibs like that have like a tick mark or something, but with the dual texture, you can't really mark it with chalk.
Good point, yes.
But also, you know, it's very much a factor that you have to take into account when you're viewing the route. is knowing that you're not going to be able to see where that jib is. So finding some kind of reference on the hold before you start climbing that you can aim for.
And of course, another thing to remember as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So many factors on such a long route as well. There's a lot to consider.
Yes, there is. Well, she's nearing Flora's high point. Let's see if she can keep her feet. This is where Flora came undone. She hits the clip. Of course, she'll have no knowledge of that slip, so it won't really affect her mental game here, but we get nervous watching it. But she looks like she's okay at the moment. Yeah, good work. So safely through that danger point, makes the clip on the head wall, which, as we've said quite a few times now, is enormous. I should mention as well, I'm with Campbell Harrison here in the commentary box. He's been joining me all evening, setting himself up for the Olympics in a couple of weeks. Oh, a little slip there with the foot.
Yeah, sketchy feet makes it work. Another big jug, so again, you get a nice hold, but you have, to work pretty hard to get to it.
Yes, and she won't stay too long on that. Oh, struggling here. She doesn't know what to do with that right foot. Now gets it in. Yeah, you're right, being a good pocket, but the feet are so bad, you can't really shake.
Exactly.
Here she can better, I think, but it's still overhanging on this head wall. And finally she finds a resting position.
Yeah, she finds once, it seems to be quite hard to get between the positions, but then once you find them, she's really able to like sink in and get something back. And I think it's going to be another hard move to this next hold.
Oh, well, she'll rest here. Up with the left hand on those
big
super
cut.
Oh, but crimps come after this. And these are some nasty ones. She only just caught that. The fingers opening up. A little intermediate. No, now finds the crimp. She was on the no-tex bit of that hold.
Yeah, that was interesting. She's, looking pumped. And, she fell just short of the... I think there was a small flat hold underneath the crimp to change the angle of the crimp a little bit, and she went for that hold rather than the hold you were supposed to grab itself. But yeah, still, impressive high point so far.
Yeah, it was good work from her. That black volume up there making the overhanging head wall even more overhanging, pushing her body back, and she slipped and fell eventually. Right, she will undo the rope, reset. Flora still looking disappointed over left. She's still muttering to herself. Something you have to deal with, isn't it? It's a real tricky thing, but a good learning experience for her to fall like that. Okay, so Rosa, this was the jump. Easily through, high feet, but no real drama. And then she cracked in a heel and had a bit of a rest and composed herself, blowing out the chalk there. And then making some big moves up to the crimp. This is where her body was being pushed backwards. It's blocked up there as well. And finally fell down, and grabbing the wrong bit of that hold to start with. So, 2 done. Natsumi Oda, another 16-year-old, now comes out onto the stage. Let's see what the Japanese athlete can do here in Briançon. She was 7th in Wujiang, and this is her 4th World Cup in the senior side of things. Natsuki Tani took a very low fall in the semi-final, so she's missing out on this.
Similar to the men's route, I think this one is very much a question of, not such a difficult sort of first 2/3, just making sure you stay as efficient as possible, keep composed. And then once you hit that head wall, you have to start trying really hard, especially with those holds being so hard to see and being blocked and such, you have to have a lot of energy left in the tank to be able to control each movement.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about that block thing, because looking up at the wall now, the men's route, not really any blind moves, and the women's is full of them. Yeah,
the women's is quite a bit more insecure than the men's, which is a fun little shake-up to see. I think sometimes the setters tend to err on a more secure style of climbing for the women, but it's been quite evident this season so far that that's not the case. We've seen a lot of jumps, especially in qualifications, and a lot of really sketchy moves for the women. But which is really cool. I think they're very much capable of that style of climbing.
Yeah, we know Janja Gambret, who isn't here, resting before getting ready for the Olympics. She was a real pioneer of hard routes for the women. She wants to battle hard. And I think the setters had to step their game up, you know, find new ways of challenging the women.
Yeah, Yanya's level especially, and Aimori's level, of course, you know, is just so high that the standard of climbing has really had to change to keep up with them.
Yeah, Aimori, another one, not here this weekend, but what a performance she had in Chamonix. Okay, so Natsumi Oda is on the jump here. Looks back at the crowd for a second. There is a jib, actually. I didn't see that before, behind on that jug.
Yeah, so it's, so positive this first jug. You know, really give you the chance to, to be able to make that leap.
Yeah, the set is giving the athletes all the tools not to fall off. It's kind of like, look, here you go. Just get through it and it's all good. But Oda is resting for quite a while here. Now she'll start this kick and swing. Oh no, a bit of a hesitation. I think she thought about trying to do it almost statically. Now starts the swing. Big rock back with the arms. Up she goes. Yeah, easy stuff.
And, you know, like we said, in lead you only get one go. Yeah. In bouldering you get many. So sometimes in a move like this where you do have the you know, the benefit of time, you can take a couple of swings and just get a feel for the move before you actually commit to it.
Yeah. All right, that's all she's holding on for with the right hand, though. Things change up from now. Onto the orange holds. Makes the clip. And a high heel hook as well.
Finds that jib pretty quickly.
Yeah, you'd have to sort of pat around on that hold to get it in. I wonder if, I suppose with the dual techs, you wouldn't really see thumbprints, so the later athletes still won't get a hint.
Yeah, you don't really get much to go off of. You know, you hopefully know from viewing that there's a jib there, and you know, hopefully you're in a secure enough position that you can feel around and find where that might be.
Smooth work so far. Our top three currently is on the bottom left. Natsumi Oda in third, third athlete out. She's nearing Flora's high point here where she slipped.
Oh, another little foot slip. Obviously she was, you know, a bit more in control at that point, but yeah, I think one of her feet did kind of go. And yeah, this move looks really awkward. It's always hard to like come in close and then move out again, especially on small holes.
Oh, she falls.
Oh, and she kind of caught her finger on the blocker, I think, and then didn't quite make it to the next hold, and yeah, she was off.
Hit her elbow on the way down as well, so that shows how unexpected it was. She just slipped and fell. Yeah, climbers full of bruises all over their bodies, especially in boulder rounds.
Yeah, she looks like she doesn't quite know what to think.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know to laugh or what.
I guess if it happens like that, you can't be that disappointed.
Yeah,
you sort of
you're just like, well, that happened. It is what it is.
Yeah. I want to see a replay of that because I kind of missed exactly what happened. So this was the jump down low. Easy peasy so far. And got the feet onto rest. Now what happened here?
Yeah, she like her hand gets caught in the blocker and then it gets caught on the bolt blocker. And by then, she's just lost, like, all momentum, and it was over.
So Alexandra Totkova comes out, and she will be wondering what on earth is going on out on the wall. Kind of a long climb, then a short climb.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think based on what's happened so far, she'll have no clue, no inclination as to what this route might be. She knows it's, you know, it's not going to be, or so far it's not an absolute pump fest like the men's was. It's gone a little bit faster than that, but yeah, she won't have much inclination otherwise as to what the route might feel like.
It's one of the reasons I love this sport so much, is it's not just the physical side of things, it's such a mental game, and I don't understand how people switch it off back there. I would be panicking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of athletes like to use, you know, noise-cancelling headphones and things, which can be nice to block out the crowd at least somewhat. I find it to be quite jarring to go from having like noise-cancelling headphones and music on to then being out in the world again.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people block it out completely. Others just, you know, accept the fact that you're going to hear the crowd and you just deal with it as best you can.
Yeah. Well, Alexandra is not a lady who lets go easily. She's got so much endurance. She's not always the smoothest climber.
She has a very unique style, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think she's had to work on it a little bit as well. Like, it's a high risk, high reward kind of climbing style, and I think at times in the past it's been a bit more risk than reward. So she's had to like cool it and maybe mature her climbing a little bit. But it's good. It's really good to be able to switch gears like she has been able to, and it's obviously paying off with, you know, another final this year.
Yeah, I think you are right actually with that. It's you've seen that improvement, and whereas it was fun at the beginning, I think she needed to change things, and she has made that adjustments now.
Yeah, because you know you'll one day it'll pay off absolutely, and you'll take a bronze medal like she has, but then another day you'll slip in qualifiers and not make the semi-finals.
Yeah. Okay, well, she's on this jump. Let's see what she can do here.
Just taking a moment again to figure out exactly what the best body position might be, making sure she doesn't get too stuck on the rope or anything like that. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, she gets set for the swing. All right, gets ready to go. Sorts the hands out around that rope. Oh, bit of an adjustment again.
Interesting.
Oh, big swing. She's going to fully jump off with 2 feet back. No, she changes her mind.
And it's a real time sink, a move like this. Like, she's already checking the time. Every second that she spends here is going to be, you know, one that she doesn't have, you know, when she hopefully manages to get past it.
She's still going to commit to this. This is a risky way of doing this. Eventually it works well, though. Look at that casual one-armer. Now, that might have affected her head just a little bit. We'll have to see if she can recover.
She knows now that with, you know, 3 minutes, 20 seconds to get to the top of this wall, from where she is now, she hasn't got too much more time to hang around. So it's just got to be a really, you know, consistent progression from here on out.
Well, she has got time, and not a super high point so far, so she's got some space to play with here. Hits the heel. Oh, but this is blocked, as we know. First time into it. Well read.
Gets that clip. Double clip as well. I was wondering if she was going to be able to clip comfortably from here. But yeah, no problem so far.
Close up shows us every emotion that's flicking through her face here. Chalk falling around her like snow as she comes up with the left hand.
You can hear, I think, her coach cheering quite loudly.
Yeah, being picked up on our mics. So, into the crimps now. Oh, good shot to show how small those are. You can see the flies buzzing around.
There's so many flies on the wall, wow.
I think they're attracted by the lights.
Yeah, they must be. There's so many of them.
Like literally moths to a light, isn't it? Or whatever the...
Moths to a flame,
yeah. That's it, thank you.
It's kind of foul.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's slightly more dramatic in that shot than it is, but she's struggling here a little bit. Struggles with that right toe.
Big move. Makes it happen.
Now she's on
1 minute 42, so some time, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true, right. The clock is ticking down here. Makes adjustments with the feet, comes up with the left hand.
And we saw Rosa as well struggle quite a lot with the foot positions here. This is where Rosa lost quite a lot of her time. And Alexandra has already lost quite a lot of her time. She doesn't really have a luxury to hang around and figure it out.
No, she doesn't. She's in silver, but she's got a way to go towards that high point. We're coming up towards the minute mark now as she adjusts the feet.
And again, struggle, 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 and then finds the foot, is able to relax. No time to shake out. You've got to keep moving.
Oh, it's a strong move for her. Hits the side pull well.
Finds the drop knee. She's going to get the clip in, and she's probably going to keep moving pretty quickly. Only 49 seconds left.
She knows, doesn't she? You can see in every body movement. Forget the flow now. Alexandra's going to go back to the old Alexandra. Just holds it. Oh, it is old school for her. I mean, it's like, I know it's not the best climbing, but it's so exciting. Up with the right hand, and she slips.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not the climbing that, you know, we're told to do, like we're told to look pretty, but, you know, if it works, it works at the end. And yeah, it's exciting to watch. It gets the job done. she obviously has like so much power in the bank to use on the wall, and yeah, that's why she's here in finals, I guess.
Well, it was a heck of a performance, full drama out on the main stage here. The fly is still floating around her. And yeah, it was all stemmed from that first jump. You know, that took the time, and I think from then on she was on the back foot just a little bit.
Yeah, always having that time pressure in the back of her mind, especially getting stuck with that extra, like already having the time pressure, and then she's getting stuck. There'd be so much like panic going through her mind.
Yeah. All right, well, as we watch the replays of what happened to Alexandra here, we will have a brief pause after this as we hit the halfway point on the women's competition. Lots of climbing to come. As we check the results once more, Rosa Recker leading the way with 41 plus, followed by the lady we just saw, Alexandra Totskova, in second, 39 plus, and Natsumi Oda with 29 plus, and Flora Oblasa with a low slip. Super disappointment for the young Austrian athlete, but she is in fourth. 4 to go, and we'll return in a bit. Well, these are the replays of the action we've already seen. Great performances at the moment on what is an interesting women's route. Very different from the men's, which was pure endurance high up the route. This thing has got more of a sting down low.
Yeah, seeing a lot of throwing around, and yeah, definitely some harder sequences as well. Honestly, that was something I thought when I was looking at the routes from the ground. I was like, the women's route looked kind of harder than the men's in a lot of sections, or definitely more like physically demanding.
Yes, I would agree, and way more dynamic as well.
For sure.
All right, well, this was Alexandra who had issues down low. Kept it together, and then we found the old Alexandra. She sped up the wall. A little bit of drama going on there. Now we wait for our final 4. Self McGrew and Campbell Harrison here in the commentary box. Campbell a little bit past his bedtime at 10:15 coming up to.
Oh, honestly, in all seriousness, up until this comp, you know, I was going to bed so early. Like, I'm doing well.
Thank you.
I'm still psyched to be here.
I know how much support you have and how many people want to hear your opinions and voice, so thank you for joining me. Okay, Mei Kataki comes out. She's 27. She was 3rd in Chamonix. One of our smaller climbers.
Yeah, and she was really standout in the qualifications. She was able to top both routes and was the only athlete to do so. So I'm really excited to see what she's able to, you know, put out on the wall here.
Oh, she approaches the wall. Let's see what they can do. We know our current provisional 3. Let's see if anyone can make an impact into that. A little bit of a hesitation immediately off the ground then. Tried to find that jib. Now
yeah,
she gets
just figuring out the exact position, I guess.
Mei Kataki then underway on this women's route and having a few issues down low with the feet.
Yeah, just taking some time to figure out the sequences, you know, knowing the exact position. I guess when you're strong and fit enough, you have the time to be able to, you know, figure out the best way to do it. But as we've seen so far, time can definitely be a factor on this route. There's kind of these 2 choke points where if you know, don't commit to whatever your method might be, you can lose a lot of time there, especially in the higher one. If you've lost time in the jump earlier on in the route, it puts that like extra pressure on figuring out exactly the right sequence quickly, which, you know, we know whenever you have to do something quickly, it's probably going to take longer.
Yes, exactly that. All right, well, Mei works her feet through here. And she is slow. I mean, talking about time, this is not the fastest bottom sequence.
Yeah, you know, only 3 clips in and she's already lost over a minute of her time so far.
It's interesting. I think I said at the beginning that time wasn't really a factor. I think I've talked more about time than on any other comp so far on this one.
Yeah, time on a wall like this that's quite tall,
yeah,
time is definitely a little bit more of a factor. But you know, the athletes know every time the time limit is exactly the same. They know they only have 6 minutes to climb, so they have to know how to pace themselves.
Yes, and as you said, it's not like they don't know the size of this wall. All right, well, she breaches the high clip. Here we go for the first jump. No one dropping it so far, and we're expecting no one to do so, but pressure, everything else could play a part here. So you've got to be accurate. She checks the time before beginning this swing. She goes for the double foot method, slip with the left foot there. And yeah, I thought she might reset. She didn't look comfortable with a kick.
Yeah, she's got that same like underhand method as Alexandra had. And I don't know if I'm sold on it. It works. It works because, you know, you're moving from a jug to a jug. But I'm not sure if it's the best way. I think we saw like Rosa, for instance, swing the one leg. And that seemed to work a little bit.
Well, she
better.
thought about changing it. She hasn't. She's gone back to that other method. Let's see if it works. Up she goes, only just with that.
And yeah, quite close, I think, at one point to slipping off that hold. Like we said, it's a jug, but it's quite rounded. So yeah, you take too big of a swing on it, off of it, and it could be over. But yeah.
Wow. Well,
haven't lost anyone at the jump just yet.
No, not yet. That was as close as we've come to that. Okay, well, we breathe again as she stands up.
And similar to Tokova, less than 3 minutes left for the rest of the route, and there is a lot of climbing left to go.
Yes, there is. All right. Well, she's left herself with work to do here. Up into the jib, and she is accelerating a bit. She knows that she took her time there. Crossing through on the orange, trying to work those hands in, find some grip. And she's not on that jib underneath yet. You can see where the thumb is. Now she is, as she crosses. Onto the block crimp as we come up to the 2 minute mark. 4 minutes gone on this run.
Yeah, you can see the elbows starting to chicken wing a little bit. Whereas you start to get tired, you start to get pumped. You have to engage more muscles in order to be able to push as much force as you can onto those holds.
Adjustment with the feet. She looks left. This is a big traverse over to the left, into the middle of the wall, hits the pocket. Certainly a dramatic one, this.
Yeah, she's looking good, able to get that foot across pretty easily. So just kind of through that second time choke point that we were talking about before.
Yeah, and this is where Alexandra really had to motor through this last bit. Alexandra was a little bit even more out of time. Those are the women who have climbed already. That left toe buried deep in a pocket. She now brings it down, crosses through with the left hand.
Yes, and while she's still got a minute, she definitely doesn't have a lot of time to spare. It's probably not enough time to see a top, but certainly enough for a new high point if she can keep her cool.
Yeah, she went up onto the wrong part of that hold as well. Hits the heel in as she crosses through.
Yeah, and that's a provisional lead so far for Meikataki.
So good comeback from her, finding her flow now on the high point. The crowd really getting behind her.
Really solid and confident again. Like she's kind of hit a second wind.
Absolutely, but the clock is so against her. 20 seconds. Up she goes, ignoring the clip for now, just wanting points. She knows she's going to get timed out soon. Doesn't have much time to chalk up. Up with the right hand. All of this is points on the board, though. 47.
How many moves can she get in before she runs out of time?
She's got to go. Go, don't check. Oh, no.
Oh, that was... Yeah, she obviously must have thought she had a little bit more time than she actually did. You know, stopping to check the time with only 3 seconds remaining would be a bit of a shock.
I love how I'm shouting at the wall like she has any idea of the time. Obviously she doesn't, but we do at home. It just makes it so tense. All right, well, she comes down.
Still, a really good performance. I think, considering how much time she had left, she was able to, put a not so much distance between her and the top of the wall.
Yeah, that was a brilliant comeback. I mean, I thought she was going to get timed out way before
100%, yeah. Really, really well done.
Right, well, she will leave waving to the crowd. Will that be enough? It was certainly a high point, but Zhang Kim, Mattia Pozzi and Laura Rogaro to come will have something to say about that. That was near where she nearly messed things up. Look how close she came. To be fair, I think what we saw was that adjustment of the hand rather than... I thought she was slipping. So maybe more solid than I thought, but certainly took a long time.
Yeah, it could have been.
All right, well, next athletes are ready. Zhang Kim comes onto the wall.
Certainly a climber who was very, very aware of the time. I know she was very present in the World Cups when we made the transition from an 8-minute time limit to a 6-minute time limit, and was certainly one of the athletes had to, you know, really make a concerted effort into managing the time change.
Yeah.
And so often you see her finishing a route with just enough time, having timed it within, you know, 5 seconds of the timer going off.
And she said, I think I said in the voiceover I made, that she almost ran out of time and therefore maybe timed it perfectly in semi-finals.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it was one of those.
It's a fine line between timing out and timing it perfectly often.
All right, well, off Zhang Kim goes. The crowd absolutely love watching her, as do we here.
We were talking about, you know, Topkova having maybe a bit more of a jagged style, but Zhang Kim is textbook climbing style, I think. Like, absolute perfection so often, such efficiency in all her movement.
Yeah, she's the queen of flow, isn't she? She's a climber I would love to emulate more than almost anyone else if I had the talent. So 2 clips in and she's moving very slowly, which worries me. Up she goes now. Precise with the movements, though.
Yeah, that's it. No individual move ever happens too fast, but it's just this like steady progression through the route that kind of allows her to, it looks like she's going a lot slower than she actually is oftentimes.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? And there's that exercise you can do in climbing, you know, where you like pause before you put your foot on every climbing hold, and it's almost like she does that sometimes. It's so precise.
I mean, I think people, you know, she just also has so much power. Like, her finger strength is so underrated. The way that she's able to just, like, hang on for such a long time, I think, is a direct result of just how strong she is, like, not just her endurance.
Yeah. Yes, that's true, actually, because when you move like that, you have to have that tension throughout your body.
And the way she so often moves by, like, sort of penduluming her arms, she'll hang off of one hold and, like, take this great big swing to move to the next one. And you can't do that unless your finger strength is rock solid. You know, you're adding so much force to your fingers by taking that extra swing. So the force that she's able to output from her fingers is really top level.
Yes, it is. All right, so here we go for the swing for Zhang Kim. She gets her left foot onto chalk up, flicks the hand around the rope. Yeah, she's doing all types of things we've seen a few do. And now she'll commit to the move. Starts the swing. Here we go for Zhang Kim. Deep breaths between moves. Oh, no, readjust.
Yeah, she never committed to any of those swings just then. Like, you knew that she wasn't going to go for it. It was just getting a feel, I guess. And now she's looking a little bit more.
There's a bit more fire in her pop. Yes, she gets it done.
And she was like, she almost hesitated, like, right in the middle of that movement. And I think my heart stopped for a second there.
Well, she's through. Let's see what she can do on the rest of this route. 3 minutes on the clock. Good job, Zhang, getting that done. And up into the next of the clips. Right, little foot tweak. I wonder how long she's been in Europe. Probably for quite a while. In Chamonix,
yeah, I would
Budapest.
imagine so. Yeah, it would have been a little. But she's got her family here with her, I think. I'm not sure about here in Briançon, but definitely in Chamonix she had her daughter and her husband, which is really nice. It must be so nice to have them
That's amazing.
along for the ride after having, you know, spending so much time away.
Yeah. Okay, well, so far so smooth. changing the feet. Locks off that jib now. Now you can do that, you can knock the quick drop.
Yeah, that's something she's specifically very good at, is like making the draw swing and then timing herself to clip the rope. Like again, it's like, because yeah, you can tap the draw and then when you can catch it on the swing and it is closer to you. But it's definitely a technique that whenever I try to employ it, I usually miss the draw as it swings back to me, and then I end up just fighting like with gravity and with the momentum. But she's always been really, really good at it. Her timing is almost always so impeccable.
Yeah, it's a skill unto itself.
Wow, and she only has 1:30 now as well.
Yeah, she's running out of time a lot here.
Almost certainly not enough time.
No, and a big move for Zhang Kim as she launches towards that pocket. All right, well, she's up high. Oh, really an extended left arm here.
Again, and just hits the draw, and as soon as it swings back, bam, there she is to catch it.
I feel like we need to do a quick draw swinging masterclass here.
Oh, yeah, if she could teach me, much appreciated.
Okay.
Although I'm long, so I typically don't have trouble with reaching the draws.
That's a good point, yeah.
Okay, 50 seconds left.
This is going to be a big ask to get onto the podium from here, I think. But she's getting close, 37, so she might bump out Alexandra Totskova soon.
I think she's got enough time to get onto the provisional podium. To take a new high point is going to be a stretch.
Yes. And she hasn't got that urgency we saw with Alexandra.
No, not at all. Oh, and she's off.
I mean, maybe that's why, if you know you're getting pumped, there's no point resting.
Yeah.
Sorry, not resting, speeding up, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's one thing she does well is when, you know, she's pressed for time, she just focuses on climbing as well as she can. But yeah, I think there's definitely a factor, you know, the time pressure is building up on you, and it's a lot easier to make mistakes. And I think we saw that a little bit. I think if that had been in training and she'd had as much time as she wanted, she would have been able to, you know, get a lot further. But at the end of the day, that's just not the sport. You know, like I said before, the time limit is always 6 minutes. You always know that that's how long you have, and yeah, you have to just do the best with what you've got.
Exactly, it's the same for everyone. Well, she'll leave the stage, go to the side to talk to her fellow athletes. You can see her, they're exiting, and the athletes coming forward. Look how popular she is. Like, she's kind of the queen, isn't she?
Yeah, and you could see Mei Kotaki definitely was like, oh, trust me, I understand.
Yes.
You know, I know how you feel.
Yeah, the pain is real. Well, this is seeing Mattia Pozzi up next as she walks onto the stage, the Austrian athlete getting ready.
Now, I'd love to know how Mattia is feeling, because she does have a bit of a history with jumps in World Cups. You know, 2 out of her 3 World Cup finals so far have been, you know, lost to a jump. She came off one of the jumps in qualifications yesterday, which almost saw her lose her spot in semi-finals, but she had, I think, a 4th place on the other route, so she was able to just squeak through. This is, you know, an easier jump for sure, but you only get one go, so it's super easy to make those small mistakes. And more than anything, it, you know, very much could be this mental battle that she's going to have, knowing that it's a potential weakness of hers and that she's got one chance to get it right.
Yes, well, you've made me nervous now, Campbell. You've typed that brilliantly. Fingers are sweating.
Just
here.
make some extra tension, you know, as if we needed any more.
Yes, exactly. All right, Mattia adjusts the feet. Oh, dropping down as well. This is... Okay, she's in. All right, hits the quick draw. Out onto the jug. Come on, Mattia. Let's see if she can get this done. Put those demons behind her a little bit. She closes her eyes there. We caught that off the camera. Just a little eye closed to compose herself.
Yeah, I'm sure she's at least a little bit nervous. I think you could see the nerves leading into this sequence as well. She's got one chance to make it work.
Starts the swing, and the same as Jan, she's not too happy with it. Readjusts. That won't have helped that mental battle. And that was a deep breath she just took.
Easy. I think she maybe made that jump look the easiest out of anybody so far.
Yeah, she hit, you know, there's all that thing with the dyno where you're meant to hit it at the highest point of the jump, and she absolutely did that perfectly.
Yeah, that was really, really good. And, you know, 4 minutes left, so she's, you know, plenty of time to hopefully finish the rest of the route. You know, but I've said that about a couple of the athletes, and they've then proceeded to run out of time. So
Yes.
we'll see how we go.
All right, let's see. On the oranges, hits the jib perfectly. Mattia Pozzi, one of the favourites to take this, in all honesty.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially with, you know, some other climbers not having their best performances, this is you know, there's really strong potential here for Mattia.
Okay, up with the left foot now. Drives through the move. Up to the block crimp.
And she's just such a strong, strong climber. Like, I remember watching her years ago in like an Austrian nationals and just being like, I'm like, that woman looks like she can do a hell of a lot of one-arm pull-ups, you know? It's just so much power.
Yeah, and I guess someone you see quite a lot in Innsbruck.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we climbed together and had her over at my place for like board games a while ago. It was really cool. Nice to see her doing so well. She was initially more of a boulderer. She had a few bouldering World Cup semi-finals under her belt, and then funny enough decided that she just hated slabs and jumps and she just wanted to pull hard moves, and so she decided to focus on lead, and, you know, look where she is now, like 3 World Cup finals in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, she was saying to me in Innsbruck how much, you know, she's looking forward to the possibility of lead being in the Olympics as a single discipline, because that's her main focus.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be nice. Hopefully we get that opportunity to see these, you know, specialists in their element really performing at what they're good at.
And look at the time difference as well, 2:17 on the clock compared to the others who are, you know, under a minute at this point sometimes.
Yeah, definitely plenty of time. She's a little shaky on that move there.
All right, comes up. Hits the right hand.
Yeah, definitely starting to try hard.
Yeah, slight shake in those arms. So. Oh, just on that jib. The blocker got in the way and she falls on the left, comes down. Well, it's second at the moment, 42.
Well, that will be her, that'll be a podium for her.
Yes, true, only Laura to go.
With one climber left, that'll be her first ever World Cup podium. I'm sure she'll be stoked to know that.
Yeah, good work from her. Well, she's down with a medal. And what a comeback last couple of days that was for Mattia Pozzi. She should be proud of that one as she leaves the stage and Flora immediately walks across the stage to greet her, knowing that she's won a medal.
Yeah, you could see how excited she was just then when Flora told her that, yes, she was going to be taking home either a silver or a bronze medal. And yeah, super excited for Mattia just there.
Well, we watched those replays of that climb from Mattia. That was where she finally fell on another crimp, but yeah, great performance from her as Laura enters the stage. So Laura, the only one who can make an indent onto this podium now, our last athlete out of the 16 that have climbed, takes off her jacket and she will begin.
Yeah, it really starts to get cold here in Briançon as the evening goes by. You know, we have these super hot days and you turn up to the wall in t-shirt and shorts, and then by the time the last climbers start to come out, it's freezing.
She drops that right foot down, reaches up to clip. Stands up nice and high into the pinches. Now, Laura is one who will also take her time on this jump. It's probably the only move that's really going to cause a lot of problems here.
Yeah, she's definitely another climber who has a history maybe of struggling on some of the more dynamic moves. I wouldn't be surprised to see her maybe take a little bit more time to figure this one out. But, you know, she's quite successful in bouldering as well. Sometimes she, sometimes she surprises us and just walks it. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how she tackles this next move.
Yes, let's have a look then. She'll certainly take her time to get this right. Matching with the hands on the slab, has a look over to the right. And yeah, not looking comfortable yet, but immediately into the beginning of this swing. As we've seen with a lot of people, readjusts the swing. Kicks. Oh, and a big slip there. She's going to have to, oh, she doesn't reset. She just keeps going.
Yeah, she's going to take a second there.
That foot slid down the black volume.
These volumes are not that sticky, I think, like from climbing on them in qualifications. The texture's quite fine. It's quite easy to slip off them if you're not careful. Oh, another little slip again.
In terms of time, this is costing her dear here. She's got to commit at some point. This could be the one. No, will she reset? Yeah, got it eventually.
Yeah, made it happen. Yeah, she was almost fighting against the swing.
Yeah.
She'd kind of lost her rhythm with it, but ultimately, like we said, I think it's ultimately quite an easy jump. You don't have to give so much to it. There's a lot of margin for error, but yeah, it's a time sap. Yeah.
It really is. Oh, 3:30 on the clock now, so Laura is going to have to push the accelerator a bit here.
And it's more physically tiring, I think, than you'd expect, just dangling off of the same hold, swinging back and forth.
She comes into the right hand, puts a heel in. Those are the athletes who have already competed. Laura, the last one out here. Sloper for the right hand, little bit of an adjustment. Crosses through, all reverses, now finds it.
Sneaky heel hook.
Yeah, into the crimp. She'll like these better. Hasn't made that clip yet. Now we'll reach down with a high heel in order to do that. 41 plus to get onto the podium. That's what she needs. She's on 30 now, so quite a few moves to go now.
Yeah, and getting this clip out of the way nice and early, which is going to come in handy.
Okay, sneaks the hand onto what is quite a good hold. Little bump of an adjustment.
Another quite big move that she's going to try and static her way out of, which she makes work. Very impressive. I wasn't sure if that heel was going to stay at first, but...
Well, she looks at the clock. 1 minute 48. It's not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be, but she does still need to go quickly here.
Yeah, it's potentially enough time, but yeah, she can't hang around for too long.
No. So she's reaching up and making this clip, so she'll do the next couple of moves without having to worry about that. Side pull to come. Bumps out. Good work from Laura. Onto the jib. Oh, grimacing as she locks off that right arm.
This is kind of where it's all coming down to it. A couple of super hard moves coming up just here. Whether she's got enough juice left.
Yeah, and the clock
to finish it off
is under a minute.
Oh, different sequence here.
Oh, she's going to have to match that, surely.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah, not too much of a struggle.
Crowd are cheering her up at every move. She's approaching the podium now. Just a plus to go. Yeah, that should be enough for that. Well, how far into podium can she go? Mattia Pozzi's 42 plus looks in danger now.
30 seconds left and still a good few moves to go if she's going to take the win.
Crosses underneath.
It's going to be hard to release this heel hook from here.
Oh, drops that foot down. Oh, this is sapping time away, but she is into silver. 44. I think she's close to falling here.
Tooth and nail at this point.
Still on. 2-1, and she's timed out, comes down for a silver, but she's happy with that. She doesn't know yet. Someone will let her know. She's looking around, and look, Mai Kataki takes the gold medal. Brilliant from her. Well-deserved victory.
Still, yeah,
that one.
absolutely super fantastic performance right before the Olympic Games. Yeah, I think she can be really pleased with where she's at going into such a big event.
Yeah, so Laura's job is done. She's still looking around, by the way, for someone to confirm it to her where she came. She now, I think, gets that. Mattia Pozzi with a smile on her face. She picks up another medal as well. An awesome work from Mai there.
First gold medal for Mai.
And
looks like she almost couldn't believe it.
She can't, just shaking her head, kind of in disbelief there. Well, look, Campbell, in a couple of minutes, we're going to say goodbye to you because you're going to go interview the winners and then we'll say goodbye. So, look, best of luck for the Olympics, man. I can't give you enough well wishes, so I hope it goes well.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be an experience, and yeah, I'm so excited, and yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been lovely, and please return soon, and I will see you after the Olympics.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Campbell.
I'll see you then.
See you later. Goodbye. So that's the confirmation of our top 8. Mai Kataki leading the way with 49 plus, Laura Rogger at 45, and Mattia Pozzi, a medal for her with 42 plus. Rosa after that in 4th, Jan Kim, Alexandra Totskova, Natsumi Oda and Flora Oblasa finished things off. That is the results, and what a final that was. Men and women being completed now. Just the interviews and podiums to come, of course, before we will say goodbye to you and have a bit of a pause after this manic couple of weeks. Well, I hope if you're watching the Olympics, you enjoy that. That is our next competition, but in terms of IFSC World Cups, Copper and the rest to come, and we will see you soon. If you are sticking with us, we will have the flower ceremony, interviews, and of course the podiums to come, and the women coming out onto the stage now to greet the audience, which must always be a strange moment, as there they are walking out in front of the eyes of thousands who are watching. Absolutely brilliant stuff from them. Mattia Pozzi says goodbye and thank you. Very emotional, and she should be, because it was a real roller coaster ride for her. Laura in 2nd with a silver, happy for her, and a good confidence boost before the Olympics. And then Mai Kataki, wow, still emotional, and the gold medal for her. Good work, great performances all round. So the women leave the stage, and we'll wait for our interviews out the back. And they will leave the stage. We will have okay, so we wait for the interviews. As we look at our wall. Yeah, plenty of climbing to come this season, of course. World Cups will finish off our year. We finished in Korea, South Korea, for a massive event actually. Multiple disciplines taking place there. So plenty of climbing to come if you are a climbing fan. So make sure you don't go anywhere. And thank you to Campbell, who joined me in the commentary box. What a star he is. Absolute gentleman. Fantastic in the commentary box. Great on the wall. I'm looking forward to watching him in the Olympics in just a few weeks' time. All right, well, Campbell has found our winner. So let's go down to them.
May, you've been competing for such a long time. So many years of hard work has gone into this, and you finally won your first IFSC World Cup. How are you feeling?
I think everybody says the same things, but I still can't believe it. And you know, it was, as you say, it was a long journey to get podium. But you know, this time, Yanya, Jessie, some of strong girls not here, so I thought I have to win this time. So I'm just happy.
Yeah, it's so incredible to watch. I mean, you had a bit of time away from the World Cup circuit, and you've come back and you're looking in the best shape you've ever been in. What do you feel like you're doing differently that's allowed you to perform at such a high level?
I just focused to rock climbing, which means I really have to be strong, because if you want to get the top on the rock, I have to, you know, no take and then no falling. So I just try to be stronger. Then it's happened.
Yeah, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Will we be seeing you at more events this year?
Yes, I will compete all World Cup after this, also Asian Championship, and yeah, actually I'm gonna go to Magic Good after Briançon, so I'm so excited to stay here.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Well, all the best for the rest of the season. Again, congratulations. It's really special to see you winning your first World Cup, and yeah, I hope you have a really great remainder of the season and a great trip to Magic Wood.
Thank you. ありがとうございます。
Well, great to hear from her. Magic Wood, by the way, if you don't know, is a bouldering area in Switzerland. World-class climbing there, so she's obviously having a holiday on some real rock. Okay, well, we checked the results one last time. May Kataki, we just heard from her, 49 plus. Laura Rogera, second, 45, and then Mattia Pozzi, 42 plus. Podiums to come, of course, men and women being given their medals. That's to follow. Before we will say goodnight to you. And do remember, you can catch up on all this action on the World Climbing Club, where we show you interviews, behind the scenes, replays, highlights, and more. So return in a couple of minutes for the podiums. If you are waiting with us, thank you very much. You'll see the stars come out onto the stage in a minute. Everything's been organised, the podium has been built, the awning set. And we'll get to celebrate with those athletes in a couple of seconds. Speed was the other day. And that was a great race all round, men and women's, but what a men's final especially. Go back and check that if you haven't seen it. Well, our camera rotates around the arena, lit fully by the spotlights now. Darkness came a long time ago, started off in the sunshine. After a couple of hours, so we come up to 10 to 11 here in Briançon. Yeah, chilly evening here, now down to just 17 degrees, 55% humidity. Humidity not really affecting very much. As you can see, the awards ceremony coming up very soon. Thank you for being patient with us as we get everything ready. And here we are, the athletes, well, the athletes, yes, the medals on the trays come out and the athletes follow. Japanese lockout on the top three. And the podiums only kind of tell half the story, don't they? It's a competition full of absolute drama out on the mats. The athletes battling their way through some pretty tricky routes out there with some dynamic moves along the way. Well, if you have returns to watch the podiums, here we go. The men first, followed by the women. Japanese lockout of the top three. And what was a pretty exciting men's final. Getting high up on the route with an endurance-style set of moves that really tested forearms and more. Satoshi Yoshida takes the bronze medal. Congratulations to him. A good performance. Really one who's come on, seeming to come from strength to strength. Little goodie bag there. A rather lovely wooden trophy. Congratulations to Zento Murashita. Silver medal for him. Sorry, gold. Hang on a sec. Yeah, gold medal for him. Absolutely brilliant. Medal handed out by the IFSC president. Oh, what a podium. Lead specialists on that stage. And they will take their moment in the spotlight as we hear the national anthem of Japan. Well, congratulations to the men. League Cups is done. We'll reset for the women in a couple of minutes. Zento Murashita, Satoshi Yoshida on those gold medal places. Big smiles, as you can see. Japanese team moving around the world together as a unit. And you can see the trophy actually models the wall they climbed on, which is a rather lovely touch. So the men will leave the stage. We'll reset for the women now. Our first-time winner will get her first gold medal. Now exit, and the women will come in a couple of seconds. So that shot of the moon, absolutely stunning in the background. As we wait for the women to enter the stage. Crowd hanging around. There's a legendary party that happens here in Briançon. So the field will be certainly dancing along later on when the DJs really get going. While we wait. It's kind of tense here actually now. And now the celebration music plays as the athletes walk out onto the stage. And for the final time here in Briançon, we get a podium. And you can see the emotions on the athletes' faces here. Takes a lot of work to get onto a World Cup podium. You have to battle your way through so many athletes, obviously, who all want the same thing. Mattia Pozzi stands up, bronze medal for her, and you can see those emotions bubbling away under the surface. It's been an absolute roller coaster ride for her. Another finals and a medal. And in second place will be Laura Ogura, deep into her Olympic preparation. She will be traveling to Paris in just over a week. Laura takes silver. And finally, in the middle, Meikataki closes her eyes. She's also got that emotion so close to the surface. You can see how much it means to her. She is your winner here tonight, and a fantastic performance from her. Meikataki takes the gold. Holding that medal very close. That will be a special moment for her. Competing circuit for quite a while, went away, came back, now she takes gold. And we will hear the Japanese anthem once more ring across this arena. Well, what a place to win your first gold medal. She will enjoy this. She'll remember this for a long time to come. The three women stand on top of the podium. As the photographers' cameras click. Congratulations to all of those and everyone who climbed here over the last couple of days. Speed climbers, lead climbers, everyone putting in the hours and effort, blood, sweat and tears. Well, we will say goodbye and return in about a month for more World Cup action from Slovenia. Thank you so much for watching and we will see you very, very soon. Good night, everyone.